So it's one thing when the boxing purists speak about last night's fight being a slap to boxing, or a shame on boxing, or something that boxing fans, you know, real boxing fans don't entertain. But it's to me, it's another thing when the boxers, the real pros in boxing, speak. All right. So Abner Morris took to social media and he stated a number of points why he thought that this fight was a slap to boxing. It seems apparently he watched the fight. Ellie Sickback covered it, and Ellie Sickback seemed to express some of the opinions that Abner Morris also shared. Ellie Sickback not being in the United States, not having seen the card. And so this is what Abner Morris had to say. He basically said in a nutshell that, these guys got to be headline a card to make so much money that someone as a pro boxer who had to shed, tears and sweat and blood to get that kind of money, these guys just got it very easily. And he feels it's unfair. He also stated that it was dangerous what happened in the fight with the punching, the illegal punches that were thrown. And he believed that, all around, them headlining a card where pro boxers were on it and they were on the undercard was a slap in the face of boxing. Ellie Seckback goes on to talk about, the kid who has his dream of becoming a pro boxer and how this kind of flies in the face of that, where somebody has to work so hard. Now, I personally don't agree with Ellie Seckback with the kid who has the dream of becoming a pro boxer because, one, that's on the kid, and the kid still has to make it to that point. And, these guys came up a different avenue, and they decided to have this particular event, this particular fight. And they come up from a different avenue. It doesn't affect the kid who wants to be a pro boxer. You still can have the dream of being a pro boxer and still work your way up. But what Ellie Seckback was also saying is he knows that eyes were put on these two fighters. He didn't know about the two fighters, but the eyes were put on them by the younger people, the teenagers to the young 20s. And he also said that he's not sure how much it'll affect the sport of boxing and help it. It looks like a one-time attraction unless the zone starts to do it more regularly. I personally think this. I think that, as Floyd Mayweather would say, a lot of people think within the box. A lot of people are thinking in the box thinking. This is a whole new generation. The millennials are gone. There's a separate generation of younger people who are interested in boxing because of this. Floyd Mayweather was going to have Chris Brown versus Soulja Boy. Okay? A lot of people were saying it's going to be an event, blah, blah, blah. Well, this is Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s idea as well, put into reality. I think that Eddie Hearn and DAZN gets a lot of flack, and they're attacking this new entity, which is a platform, a streaming platform, just totally new age. This stuff, DAZN, Eddie Hearn fighting in Saudi Arabia, these are all out of the box things. And, a lot of the boxing purists and a lot of people like Abner Morris who can't think beyond the box, they're criticizing it. But when you think about it, unless boxing changes as a sport and people now just come off the street and start to box, okay, this is not going to affect professional boxing. It's just not going to. Okay? This is its own entity. And Billy Joe Saunders and Devin Haney were on display as the undercard of this event. And they chose to be on the undercard. Okay? So Abner Morris is saying that this is a flying slap in the face of the undercard. These guys chose to be on that undercard. Okay? They chose to be on the undercard. So how could it be a slap in the face of boxing? And they knew that millions of eyes would be on them. Now, I've listened to a lot of people speak about how, millions of eyes were on Devin Haney and he underperformed for the eyes. We don't know because he knocked down his opponent. And you see, a lot of people in boxing are thinking in the way of how I'm thinking. which is we're breaking down the fighter. We see the fighter, you know, he's hyped and all of that. And we see the fighter. We see the fighter struggling with the opponent, etc. Okay, not getting him out of there. Then we saw Billy Joe Saunders struggling with his opponent, not getting him out, and then he got him out of there. But the average fight fan doesn't think like that, and casuals don't think like that, and then these new millennials, they probably don't think like that either. So the way how we think as boxing fans, as boxing purists, as casual fans of boxing, you know, as older guys, it's not how these younger people, they may have seen this for the first time. So they're watching Devin Haney swinging like mad for the fences. He's not hitting, but he's so aggressive and he's dominating. And they might say like, wow, this guy's dominating. We don't know how they're taking that in. You understand? Now, the thing about it is, because KSI against Logan Paul, KSI was swinging like a wild ox, but the fans would be looking at KSI and be like, wow, he's just so aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Because these people don't know shit about boxing. And we constantly think that they're thinking like how we're thinking. They're not thinking like how we're thinking. Now, if the commentary team opens up their stupid ass and starts saying shit, then it is what it is. Okay? So they're talking about guys coming off the street. KSI and Logan Paul have been fighting now for, KSI has been fighting for 2 years. Okay? 2 years, 2 or 3 years. Okay? Logan Paul, he's had a whole year to train for this event. So these guys didn't just come in there and start throwing punches. And just in case people don't know what an average Joe would look like throwing punches, just go and look at, you know, there are a couple fights online on YouTube where average Joes are throwing punches, or even street fight. Guys got their chin up in the air and they're just flapping away. They're just flailing away. Okay? That was not KSI versus Logan Paul. KSI was wild with his right hands, no doubt about it. But everything else was pretty good. All right? He was slipping and rolling punches and dipping under punches, jabbing off the angles, low to high, and all of that stuff. Right? Landing body punches. He did a pretty good job. Devin Haney also fought very well. Of course, Devin Haney is an elite fighter, so when he fought, elite stuff. I'm just saying that the hype behind Devin Haney that I bought into, right? And I put down Lomachenko for Devin Haney. That hype tells me that Devin Haney is overhyped. Y'all don't want to hear me say it, but I'm speaking the truth. I'm speaking the truth, ninjas. Devin Haney is what we call overhyped, and I am guilty of overhyping him. All right? He has a way to go. He has development to do. He had a good test, right? He couldn't get the guy out of there, and he was supposed to get the guy out of there. From what I learned, he wasn't listening to his dad either. He was just teeing off. That's why he hurt his shoulder, right? He hurt his shoulder just trying to just swing for the fences, and you just don't do that shit, okay? He kept it in order when it comes to jabbing with the guy and boxing on the outside. And sometimes even getting to the inside, he was keeping it good. But then he would just go right hand happy. Like fucking Deontay Wilder, like KSI. Okay? He did a lot of things good. But he did not keep his composure. You have to keep your composure. He wasn't listening to his dad. His dad was giving him great instructions. He just, I don't know what happened to him, but something just short-circuited him. And he just thought, I could take this guy out. And he just kept on doing the same shit over and over. All right, he lost his composure, and composure is everything in boxing. And you can't be doing that shit against Lomachenko. You just can't. Right? He's not listening to his father. Now I heard that Devin Haney, he wants to still face Lomachenko. He wants to face Gervonta Davis. He wants to face what's that kid's name? Ryan Garcia. I know he wants all the smoke. I know he's a hungry fighter. He also wants to face Luke Campbell. You know, Shakur Stevenson wants to face what's the kid's name? You guys know what I'm talking about. Josh Warrington, right? He's not ready for fucking Josh Warrington. He's not ready for Josh Warrington. He needs another fight before he can face Josh Warrington. Josh Warrington beat Carl Frampton. It was fucking better boxer than Shakur Stevenson at this point in time. But the young guys want the smoke. Give them what they want. Give them their smoke. Give Devin Haney what he wants. Give him the smoke. He ain't ready for the smoke, but give him the smoke. Because Canelo wouldn't be what he is today, pound for pound #1 fighter in the world, and everybody almost agrees with this now. I'm seeing people now agreeing that Canelo is pound for pound #1 fighter. He wouldn't be it if he didn't get the smoke with Floyd. So give Devin Haney Lomachenko. He's going to get a loss on his career, but give him the smoke. Give Shakur Stevenson what he wants. He wants the smoke, give him the fucking smoke. Maybe he performs better than I expect. Maybe Devin Haney performs better than I expect. But give them the smoke. I don't believe that Devin Haney can beat Lomachenko at this point in time, though. That's just my personal opinion. I may be wrong. But that's my personal opinion. Because the way how he fought, especially after he knocked down that kid, no. And yes, the kid got some skills, but he's not Devin Haney's level. He's not on fucking Devin Haney's level. It's period. Devin Haney was supposed to get that guy out of there. All right? And we hyped him up so much. Now, if we take the hype away, and we're not talking about Devin Haney versus Lomachenko, he did well. He did well for the level of fighter that he is at right now. But if you put Lomachenko into that equation, he's not ready. He's overhyped. He's overhyped. Ryan Garcia got it right. He said at the right time I'll face Devin Haney. Take it one step at a time. You know what? These guys need to be moved along one step at a time so they can develop their experience because they're not on Lomachenko's level. Right? And that's why Floyd Mayweather and they didn't just push Gervonta Davis into Lomachenko. As much as his trainer and Gervonta Davis want Lomachenko, they weren't ready for him. And I guess Gervonta Davis didn't face Tevin Farmer for that reason as well. As much as spectacular as Gervonta Davis is, they moving them along the right way. And Bob Arum was right. And I got to apologize to Bob Arum, too. I thought Bob Arum was protecting Lomachenko. He ain't protecting nothing. But Lomachenko's the beast. Lomachenko's the motherfucking beast in that division. Okay? And he's going to get the next belt. From whether it's Richard Comey or whether it's Teofimo Lopez, he's going to get the next belt. You know, he's going to get that belt. All right? He's been doing this sport for a very, very long time. Okay? And so we need to respect, I need to respect Lomachenko. Oh, there's another thing I want to talk about. Franchise champions. You know, the franchise champion belt, now I respect what Solomon be saying. Come on now, people. Do you really think Jamal Charlo was ready for fucking Canelo? Look at what Adams did to him. What do you think Canelo would have done to Charlo? Everybody talking about Charlo for the right time. That's why Charlo ain't really going in on Canelo no more. He not ready for Canelo. He's not ready for Canelo. You know? And he fights the same way that Sergey Kovalev fight. He's stronger on the inside. Canelo gonna take, but you know Canelo gonna tag that fucking body. You know he gonna tax that fucking body. I know Charlo got good stamina and shit, but he gonna tax his body. Right? Because Jamal Charlo's all about the jab. They moving on Charlo along just fine. Right? He don't even want to face I don't know if he wants to face Demetrius Andrews. He should face Demetrius Andrews. That's the motherfucker he should face. Demetrius Andrews should face him. You know? Or whoever. But we'll see how it goes. Christian Banks Jr., he gonna be a problem for Charlo too. You know. He gonna be a problem for Charlo. So back to the topic at hand. So Abner Mares, this is what he said. Now listen. Ellie Seckbach and Abner Mares, you know, again, talking about how, you know, the illegal punches and illegal blows. Well, guess what? That's part of boxing. It happens in boxing. All right? And yes, KSI could have been badly hurt, but he wasn't hurt. That's the facts. He wasn't hurt. You know why? Because they trained and conditioned those guys to make sure that they weren't badly hurt by those punches. Right? And KSI had ridiculous cardio in that fight. Other people, you know, certain broadcasters was talking shit about how he was getting out boxing shit. He wasn't getting out box. Okay? And his cardio was really on point. Okay? And yes, he did get hit when he was down, and he did get Logan did hold and hit him, and Logan knew he was doing the wrong thing. That's why 2 points were deducted, because it was an intentional foul. That's why the referee immediately penalized Logan for that. But let's not forget, KSI also knocked down Logan in the second, I believe it was. He knocked him down, and he walked his ass down for the majority of the fight, and he was landing punches to his body. He did a lot of good body work. To the spleen punches, jab to the solar plexus, uppercuts. You know, he was hitting them with left hooks. You know, once he get on the inside, you know, bobbing and weaving again on the inside. He was hitting them with nice jabs as well to the head when he could jab to the head, low to high jabs. He was hitting him with some good punches, and he looked good, except for one thing. He looked wild as fuck throwing that overhand right. Wild ass overhand right he was throwing. Other than that, he was good. I mean, he was doing good things. And he and Devin Haney had something in common. They were both swinging for the fucking fences when they shouldn't. They shouldn't have been swinging for the fences. You know, I haven't seen the Billy Joe Saunders fight yet, but I can say this: even though the KSI versus Logan was the most eventful and dramatic part of the event, people have watched the other two fights. And people, a lot of eyes would have been on that. And no matter what, we have to wait for the feedback on that. We got to wait to see how the eyes were on that event, how much subscriptions were on that they got, or how much subscriptions the Zone had. And also, you know, it's an event, right, in which we had actually World Championship Boxing on that event. And while Devin Haney may not have put on the performance that would be worthy of a Lomachenko fight, I can say very honestly, it was still a hell of a performance. He knocked down the dude. You know, the dude had some skill as well. He constantly kept on pressing the action. He constantly kept on throwing punches. The fight was action-packed. It wasn't a boring, dull chess match fight. It was an action-packed fight, so that the average fan might have seen it and been like, hey, you know, that was a good fight. Even though Devin Haney be missing like crazy, okay? And the other guy was clinching for his dear life. You know, he was in survival mode. But, you know, it was a good fight. Now, I listened to some of the Sky Sports announcers, and they were down talking the fight. I'll have to listen to the DAZN announcers to see if they had, you know, it's all about how the announcers announce a fight as well. If you're an excitement announcer, if you're announcing the fight in an excitable way, right? Because you don't know shit about boxing, it makes for a more exciting fight. You know, with MMA, the announcers, they're so excitable that it gets people interested. The guys may be novice, amateurs compared to real martial artists, but just how excitable the announcers are also makes a fight exciting. So it's all of those little points that you have to look at. But me personally, concerning KSI versus Logan Paul, I thought it was a hell of a card. I thought DAZN did a great job. I think that the anti-DAZN sentiments is because people do not understand what DAZN is doing. Even I went to Sergey Kovalov's Twitter, and I didn't realize that Sergey Kovalev and Canelo Alvarez knew that there was going to be a pause between fights, and the UFC was going to be allowed to play first, and then the fight Canelo versus Kovalev was going to happen next. So they actually knew, Kovalev and Canelo knew that they were going to come after the UFC event, UFC card. And so they didn't feel disrespected. So even that I did not know. And that information just came. I'm just going to say this. I think DAZN is just a new era of media. And I also believe that the way how they're packaging things and presenting stuff is for this younger generation that deals with digital media. So that I don't expect the old fogies and the old school people like myself and older. I don't expect 40-year-olds to really appreciate it. I don't expect 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds, old media as they call it, to appreciate this stuff. But some of the old media is kind of being accepting. Some of the old media is beginning to appreciate it. I listened to on Pound for Pound Boxing Report. I think her name is Carol, and she was talking about how they were all cool with it, but then you saw the old media now talking it down and shit. But honestly speaking, I didn't know all of this, see? And again, I'm going to apologize to 68 because 68 actually mentioned this stuff, but I didn't hear it. So, you know, a lot of things 68 has said, actually, when you really pause and think about it, you know, is actually some sensible things. Now, with respect to Abner Morris's other criticisms and statements with Ellie Seckbeck aligned himself with, that boxers, you know, sacrifice so much to get into that ring, and some of them die in the ring. Listen. That's the reason why Eddie Hearn had it as a pro fight. That's the reason why Eddie Hearn had these guys training their asses off and taking the sport seriously, and they did. And quite frankly, Logan Paul looks like he could be a boxer. His defense is a little bit suspect. I thought that, of course, KSI did not exploit that defense to the max, but I guess, again, he could only do so much within that short space of time. It takes a certain skill set to be able to do that, and he couldn't develop that over the course of a year or over the course of a couple of months. So I didn't expect that to happen. But I got to say, KSI versus Logan Paul was very good. It was better than I expected. I've seen a lot of fights where guys come off of, you know, guys who are fighting, but they're not professional fighters or they're not amateur fighters. They have no amateur pedigree. And I've seen worse fights than that. You know, I've seen guys slapping each other. They don't know how to turn over their punches. They don't have good defense. But KSI versus Logan Paul, both fights, the guys have pretty good defense. They had pretty good boxing skills. It's not refined. It's not elite. It's not, you know, top tier world class professional boxing, but they can beat a couple of pros out there. You know, again, when we say pro boxing, we're not talking about the guys with amateur pedigree and all of that stuff. We're talking about the guys who jumped in and, you know, from Mexico, jump into the pros, and they, you know, they got beat up. The shit, I could see them beating a couple pros, right? But at the end of the day, when Ellie Seckbeck said, you know, anybody can become a pro, that's what this says. Yes, why not? Why can't anybody become a pro? But the problem with this is, as Logan even said, he doesn't have that mindset, that killer instinct to want to knock out a fighter, to want to hurt a fighter. And the true nature of people come out. Yeah, anybody could become a pro in boxing, but can anybody stay as a pro in boxing without getting hurt on extensive damage and stuff? That's a totally different story. I could become a pro tomorrow. I could just get my papers and stuff, sign up and become a pro. Have no fucking training, nothing, just go in there and wing it. Okay? But boxing is a sport that's unforgiving. So if I were to jump in the ring and do that and I get killed the next day, that's on me, right? Boxing is not for everyone. It's a certain mindset too you have to have for boxing. And you could see that Logan Paul realized, yeah, you know what? This. I'm glad. He said there's a reason I was a YouTuber. You know, you could see that Logan Paul visibly when he got hit by KSI, for example, he pulled back, and he didn't want nothing to do with that because he didn't have that mindset like KSI to take punches and keep on going. And in boxing, you have to be able to take a punch. You know, you have to be able to have a mindset where your nose is bloody, your nose is broken, whatever. By the way, Niall Inu also had a broken nose, so fucking Donaire did a number on him. Donaire did a number on him, and you could tell Donaire was a stronger, you know, heavier puncher in that fight. Okay, and Nonito Donaire knew he had to walk through some fire to dish out his shots. And I gotta say again, Nonito Donaire is a hell of a fucking fighter. I said this over and over. People say now, you know, Inoue would just dust him. I never saw that shit happening, and it really proved me right. And he almost won the fight. You know, Inoue pulled it off by winning the final round. If Inoue did not win that final round, Donaire would have taken that fight. You know what I'm saying? It was that fucking close. You know, and I listened to Intangible Boxing. He was telling me, what am I smoking? I ain't smoking nothing, Ninja. I'm just telling you the truth. You know what I'm saying? And Inoue took more damage than Nonito Donaire in that fight. He had a broken nose. He had a broken eye orbital, and that's just telling you how fucking hard Donaire hits. You thought Inoue hits hard. Donaire was the guy that was hitting harder. Okay, clearly we see that now by the damage both fighters took. So Inoue fought through with that, but you know, like I said before, Inoue's a little bit overhyped. If Donaire somehow, some way could get a rematch with Inoue, Inoue will learn from this incident, learn from this fight. He might come out better, or Donaire might just do better. You know, that's to tell you how mean ass Donaire is. You know, but the thing about it is, I doubt it because he's old, and I think he's pretty much done. You know, his career is pretty much over. But Nonito Donaire, man, he totally represented for the OGs. A bad motherfucker. He's the baddest motherfucker on the planet. He a bad boy. You know what I'm saying? And if you're just looking at the damage toll, if you look at who was the effective puncher in that whole fucking fight, you know, I mean, you gotta give it to Inoue. Inoue did knock down Donaire. You know, he fought back like a true champion. He knocked him down. Caught him with a really good body punch. Donaire he was pretty much kind of running around number 11. Inoue. He fought back. But I gotta tell you though, Donaire's a bad motherfucker. He's a bad motherfucker. And I give Donaire all the props in the world. He's a bad motherfucker, I'm telling you. You know, and what else can I say except Nonito Donaire? And Nonito Donaire also helped KSI in his camp. This is why KSI came out so triumphant. It wasn't just about being, you know, the better boxer, which Logan Paul was the better boxer too. But definitely KSI was the dog. He was willing to walk through hell and fire to do what he needed to do. And he was coming like a killer. He was coming like a fucking killer. And, you know, Logan Paul, on the other hand, shout out to Boxing Monster. What's good, my brother? You know, And when I looked at KSI versus Logan Paul, I really was proud because it kind of exemplified what boxing's about. And I also, let me just say, props off to Devin Haney on defending his title. You know, past the Lomachenko issue, Devin Haney did exceptionally well for a young boxer, only 20 years of age, building up experience, building up his profile. Kudos to him. He has some work to do in the lab if he wants to deal with a Lomachenko. You know, and he has some work to do if he's going to face Luke Campbell. He's got some work, still some work to do. They have to go back to the drawing board and work on some stuff. But he did very, very well. Shakur Stevens as well, very, very well to become world champion. Teofimo Lopez is going to have his championship fight. Let's see how he does against Richard Comey. He can correct some of the issues, you know, getting hit with the overhand right. He could do okay again against that guy, Richard Comey, a long-rangey fighter. Devin Haney doesn't have as much problems as Teofimo Lopez has. He don't get hit that flushly, but you know, Devin Haney though, he got to go back to the drawing board. He got to work on his game. You know, there's a lot of things. His footwork, you know, his composure, primarily his composure. It's not so much his footwork. He has decent, you know, footwork. He didn't use it, but he has decent footwork in his tool bag. But he has to work on his composure. You can't be flinging. You can't be just trying to launch shots and just be gung ho trying to bull rush guys and shit like that. You can't be doing that. Shout out to Boxing Monster. Boxing Monster says Haney beats all 135-pounder fighters. Nah, fuck no. Fuck no. He ain't beating Lomachenko. Not from that performance I saw last night. He ain't beating Lomachenko. I'm gonna tell you why. I always have a reason. Lomachenko's footwork, you better keep up with his footwork. Okay? The strong point of Lomachenko is his footwork. Okay? And fucking Devin Haney did not display footwork for me, especially after the knockdown. He was standing in front of the guy. Okay? He was coming straight in. He started coming in off angles, and he started cutting his angles when he figured out he had to go to the inside because the guy was vulnerable to the inside. And he did some good work there when he wasn't trying to tee off with his shots. As soon as he got the knockdown, motherfucker just started crashing, and he stood right in front of the guy for the entire night. And let me explain to you guys what I'm talking about, because I keep on explaining it so you guys can see. So here I am, right? You know what? I want you guys to see my feet, so. Okay. All right. So here I am, right? You guys can see me, right? All right. Devin Haney was standing like this, standing in front of the guy. All right, popping the jab, and coming straight in off the jab. All right, and then he's doing this thing. That's bullshit. You can't be doing that, right? And what is he doing? Popping the jab, overhand right, right? Popping the jab, overhand right. All night, that's the shit he was doing, okay? Especially after the knockdown. Sometimes he would pop the jab, pivot, overhand right, okay? That shit don't work, man, okay? If I'm here, I'm gonna pivot on. I'm always gonna be pivoting. I'm always gonna be pivoting. I'm always gonna be pivoting. See, this is the pivot. Small little pivots to get into position. See? I'm pivoting. Can you see I'm pivoting? I'm inching into you, but I'm pivoting also away from you. Right? If I have to go weak side, then I'll pivot weak side. You got to make your adjustments to pivot to me. See? I'm pivoting. You got to pivot. You can't stand directly in front of a guy. I'm just here. Can't stand in front of a guy. All right? You can't do that with Lomachenko. Lomachenko be doing all this shit. Lomachenko. This is Lomachenko. All the time. Okay? He always pivoting. He's always pivoting. That's Lomachenko. Okay? You just standing in front of Lomachenko, he gonna pivot right around you like this. He gonna go like this. And if you're a right-hander, he's a left-hander, right? I'm a right-hander. He gonna pivot this way, okay? He gonna pivot around you this way. So if I'm right-handed here, he gonna pivot this way to you because he want lead foot dominance. So you can hit him. He can hit you. You can't hit him. All right. So if you just stand in front of Lomachenko, he gonna pivot, and then he'll just come in. Okay? He'll just come in. And he gonna pivot in, throw the lead left, pivot off to the side pivot you, and you still trying to catch him. So every time you turn, you getting bop, 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 bop. You're getting hit up all the time. You understand what I'm saying? If this is Lomachenko, I'm a southpaw, right? So I'm gonna be pivoting this way. And I'm inching in. Ha! Okay? Right? And then Lomachenko like to do this. Ha! 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 Alright? He like to do that. I don't know if you guys even see what I just did. But he will come in. Whoa! He'll hit you to the body here. Right? Come over the top. Alright? And he's always trying to get foot position on you. Boom! Bop! Double jab. Snapping you with the jab. Body shot. Okay? He's spinning you, spinning you, spinning you, spinning you. And then he might spin back the other way. And sometimes he hits you with feints. He come here. And then he doesn't move his head. He don't really move his head, but he moves his foot. Right? He moves his foot. So, I mean, you can't handle Lomachenko if you don't have footwork. If you don't have footwork, you can't handle Lomachenko. You gotta have footwork. That's the one thing. That's what Lomachenko lives off of, his footwork. Most of them Eastern European fighters, their footwork is the thing. And Haney just was standing in front of that guy, and then he would go straight in, sidestep him, try to do the overhand right. But you coming straight in. You coming straight down the center. You try to do that with Lomachenko, he sidestep you. Boom, boom. Whole night you turning your ass. So I demonstrated so you guys can understand what I'm talking about. Because I know what I'm talking about. Boxing Monster says, that's the worst Haney interpreter I've ever seen. You look more like Eric Morales when he was trying to do the shoulder roll. You know, it's sad. It's sad to hear you guys talk because you guys just talk shit. That's all you do. You can't demonstrate shit. You can't explain what you mean by it. And I don't really give a fuck, really. I just showed you guys what it was. Right? He coming straight in. He's coming straight in. He's not cutting angles, and he's definitely not pivoting. Right? He doesn't pivot. He didn't pivot for this fight. And he can pivot. I've seen him pivot before. But he just stood right in front of the guy, and then he decided to come in. All right? And you can't do that shit. You just can't. Not against Lomachenko. And Gervonta Davis would light him up too. Gervonta Davis, the other thing that Devin Haney was doing was these big looping shots. Big old fucking looping shots. Right? Coming with these big power. All the way around here. Just all out here he coming with. Right? Not short shots. You know what I'm saying? He's not giving you short, crisp shots. He's not giving you that. He's giving you these wide ass shots. Right? What the fuck? What are we gonna do with the wide ass shots? All right? Coming way out here, throwing right hooks, and he keep on throwing right hooks. For the life of me, I don't know why he's throwing all those right hooks. Shout out to whoever it is there. Who's that? Still Boxing Monster. Dog ain't fighting Lomachenko the same way. He did respect that bum last night. Come on, homie. He wanted to KO him. Motherfucker, you try to do that shit. You try to KO Lomachenko, and that's the same shit that will happen to you. Okay? Like I said, and I'm going to say it again. Y'all are apologists for bullshit. All right? If you can't keep your composure against that bum, if you couldn't keep your composure against that bum, you ain't listening to your father, you ain't listening to nobody, you go right hand happy, you damage your hand was dislocated, you had a dislocated fucking shoulder, you had to put ice on your shoulder, okay? How are you gonna handle Lomachenko? How the fuck? You can't keep your composure. You too young. You showed you couldn't keep your composure. You look like an ordinary fucking fighter, telegraph in your right hand. Not stepping around. Coming straight in. After you did such great work to get the guy to knock him out, knock him down, you turn around and you just fuck up everything. For 8 more rounds, you just doing 7 more rounds, because you think you knocked him down in the round 5. For 7 more rounds, you just doing shit. What the fuck is that? Now, if I look at it in terms of him as a fighter that's developing, a young fighter, then it's okay. But the way how we hype this dude, that's why I said he's overhyped, and I said by me. The way how we hype this dude as the second coming, he can beat everybody. Blah, 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 blah. He sparred Floyd Mayweather. Blah, blah, blah. You would expect, now you expect him to light up this dude and get him out of there, because the dude was not on his level. He was not on his level. Demonstration of what all he had to do to get this guy, to knock out this guy. Again, just keep your composure. It's just about composure. Motherfucker trying to come in, clinch you, right? Orthodox stance. Okay, you're watching at me at a weird angle. Okay, that's why you're looking up at me. That's why this looks so stupid. All right, I can't get it level. If I get it level, it looks something like this. But you can't see it level. Let me see. Hold on. Maybe I can get it. No, it's still gonna be slightly slanted. So this is more level. All right. So here I am in this stance. Okay. You can see I'm like a board now. You can still hit me in my head, but if I do like this, but then I can block the punches here. Okay? I can block it here. Walk to you. Okay. Well, let's just talk about what I'm talking about. So, if a motherfucker keeps on sliding in and locking you up here, and locking up your arms, okay? Or they throw a jab, and as you slide in on them, they want to lock you up, right? As you slide in here, what do? They grab your arm and they lock you here. Or they lock you up. What do if they come in to lock you up? As you slide in, you forearm them and step around. Step around. This forearm, catch them in the neck. It's like a jab. So if I come off my jab, so I'm coming off an angle, right? I'm stepping around, slowly pivoting, right? And then I throw my jab, right? I collapse the jab right here, forearm comes in here. Collapse the jab, forearm comes in here. I step around. You can't clinch me. Now I can stab you to the body. You can't see it, but I can stab you to the body below here. Or I can come over the top. Stab to the body, come over the top. Hook. Then I come with the left hook. Stab to the body, come over the top. I'm at a T angle, so they can't hit me. They're going to have to pivot, and if they pivot, I pivot. Because the forearm, Floyd Mayweather style, the forearm tell me if their body going to move. If they move, I move. I'm not shoving the forearm in on them. I'm resting the forearm in on them so I can gauge them. It's like a jab. So if they pivot, I'll pivot. Because I'll feel their body move. I move with their weight. Inside fighting, when you're inside fighting, when the guy moves, your shoulder will move with him. Do you see the pivots? See the pivot? So that's why when you look at Josh Taylor versus Reggie Prograis, when you come in, you bump him with the shoulder. You saw also Sergey Kovalev do the same thing with Canelo. When he gets on the inside, bump with the shoulder, and then try and grip him up. Slide in, grip him up. Get the hands. You grip. You can't see it, but you grip him up below here. You slide in and grip him up, right? But my point anyway is this. One of the ways to keep a guy from gripping you up is using the forearm. You saw Canelo do it against Sergey Kovalev, right? It gives you a space. It spaces you out. Floyd talks about it. He said, I rest the forearm here so that when the guy comes in, he hits against this. I'm not pushing against him. He hits against this, right? It's like if I stiff arm a guy, right? Stiff arm is not legal, but if I stiff arm a guy, he can't get past my hand. And when he tries to go below, my hand follows him. See? So it's the same thing with the forearm. So you come in, you slide in. All he had to do was keep his composure. Keep his composure. And don't try to put leverage off of everything. You're just touching him. So I catch him here, I stab him down here, I catch him over the top, or I stab him down here, I catch him with a hook. Just you want to touch him. Just touch him. Because why do they say touch him? Touch him. In boxing, you're saying touch him because you're not trying to put heat on your punches. You're just trying to make it, because knockouts don't come because you put a lot of force and power behind the shot. Knockouts come naturally. You don't even feel like you're going to knock out the dude. You're just doing your thing, touching the guy. Hold on a second. Get this smoke. What's up, bro? Tangible Boxing says, Devin going to beat Loma. All Santiago did was run and hug. Listen. That's not true. Before the knockdown, Santiago was in the game. But then Devin Haney solved the puzzle. Santiago went southpaw at certain points in time because he was trying to present a puzzle to Devin Haney. All right? Devin Haney solved both puzzles. Okay? And credit to his father for telling him, listen, don't try and go for the gusto. Just touch him. Just touch him. Work off the jab and touch him. And it was brilliant advice. But as soon as Devin Haney got that knockdown, and again, to Devin Haney's credit, he did show some lateral movement when he started to actually box the guy. At first, initially, when they were both facing each other and circling the ring and stuff, they were doing, basic boxing. The other guy looked like he was good. He had some skill. I saw him already. I saw what kind of skill level he had. I know he was long and rangy. I knew he didn't really have, he had a little bit of inside game, but he didn't have a whole lot of inside game, right? So going into this fight, I knew, okay, Devin Haney could beat this guy, dude. Came out nice and sharp and everything. And so at first, when Devin Haney would come in, right, and he would even counter the guy or, land a punch, the guy would counter him. Because he was so long, Devin Haney would get caught as he's pulling back. And Devin Haney made an adjustment where he would dip down low, or he would he started using the high guard and walking to the guy. When his father told him, don't try to put too much leverage on the punches, just try and touch the guy. Then Devin Haney started to really be effective because now he was solving the puzzle. He was learning he had to snap back a little bit off an angle so that the guy's punch would go by him, the jab would go by him, right? Kind of a la Jeff Mayweather, Floyd Mayweather. Sometimes it's like you're sitting back this way. All right, you're sitting. I can't really show you guys what I'm talking about, but so you kind of sometimes what happens is it's a kind of feint. It's like you're sitting into your stance. So what happens is when you sit into your stance, you can rock back to your left or you can rock back to your right. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm talking about, but when you sit into the stance, you rock back to your left. You can rock back to your right. You guys can't see what I'm talking about. I'm gonna demonstrate down here. So here I am, right? But if I sit into my stance, I can rock here, or I can rock here. And I can swivel this way. Right? And what matters is, I can go like this. So I can actually change levels. So you have to shoot down at me. You got to shoot down at me. So the guy, he had to shoot down at Devin Haney. And when he swivel out of the way this way, right, the guy's right hand could come down. But even if it does, he could swivel out of the way of it. Let me demonstrate on me. So I wish I had somebody else to demonstrate this with so you could actually see it. But when you sit into your stance, what it does is make you change levels. So if you was up here, now you're here. Makes you smaller. And if you watch that Floyd Mayweather versus the tall guy from Canada, just before the Gennaro Hernandez fight, you will see on display that kind of skill that I'm talking about. Devin Haney has that skill. Okay? And he demonstrated it just before the knockdown. He was keeping his composure, and he started to not just change head slots, but body slots as well. He was moving his whole body back, and that's what helped him to get in with his left hooks to the body, right? And he would come off of the jab. So we would jab, then he would, like I said, change his body position, change his body slot, because it takes a lot of energy to do. And he'd get in on the kid.
right? So he wasn't getting hit by the kid. And that kid was doubling, tripping up, and he would get him to the ropes. And then once you get to the ropes now, once you get the guys to the ropes, you keep your two guard up, and you rip to the body. Whoa! Right? You rip to the body. You move to the side, rip here. Move to the side, rip here. Ha! Ha! Right? Ha! Ha! Head low. Just in case the guy want to throw an uppercut, you keep it closed up here. Right? And you work the body. Okay? And you can come over the top sometimes. Ha! Ha! Right? You come over the top, but you don't square up in front of your opponent. So you come over the top here. You have to sidestep. Right? So the whole point anyway is this. That he worked the guy on the ropes. Then he let him off the hook a little bit, backed off. And he kept on working the guy. And I thought it was really good. I thought it was really good to see that happen. To see him working the guy's body and breaking him down. So he got the guy, he knocked down the guy in the 5th round. And after he knocked him down, that's when he started going berserker with power shots. You know. And things started to fall apart then. See what you guys saying. Got a lot of people up in here. Tangible Boxer said the guy countered once in every blue moon. In the beginning, he was catching him with the overhand right. He would counter him with the right. But Devin Haney made an adjustment to that. And then when he went southpaw, he was catching him with the right again as a jab and a hook. Get the smoke. Peace, everybody. Peace to you, Get the smoke. Devin Haney purse disagrees with Mares. Devin Haney's purse disagrees with Mares. I got you, man. You're absolutely 100% correct, bro. Boxing Monster says Peter Pan. Homie is mad at right now. Homie is mad at right now. Mad at who? He mad at me. Because he said he looked like Morales. Because he said he looked like Morales. Boxing Monster says, yeah. I don't know what you guys talking about, ninjas. Santiago should have been deducted a point for holding. He looked like Grabamir Klitschko. Now that's true. Yeah, it was excessive holding. But listen, like I said before to you guys, there's a way to deal with a guy that clinches a lot to deter him. And one of the things I noticed Canelo was doing to deter Kovalov was, as soon as Kovalov tried to clinch, Canelo would again use the forearm, right, to separate, and come with a sharp, short, compact right hand, overhand right hand. He would sidestep him inside pivot and hit him with that sharp overhand right, and fucking Kovalov would step away. Intangible Boxing says, Boxing Monster, you are hilarious. Intangible Boxing says, Santiago is a good fighter. He fought Jonathan Barrios, who fought Selby, and Santiago did better on Barrios than Selby, who beat Ricky Burns. Yeah, I mean, yeah. He not in Devin Haney's class, though. That's why he was surviving. He was trying to clinch up later on in the fight and smother Devin Haney's offense. So he not in Devin Haney's class. That's the truth. And Devin Haney, he not ready for Klitschko. He's not ready for what the fuck am I talking about? He's not ready for Lomachenko. He's not ready for him. Intangible Box says, all I got to do is shoot my left hook and I'll knock you over. Your stance is whack. You may get deducted a point for ducking under your opponent's waist. Intangible Boxing says, before you say something, I'm just playing. Huh? Intangible Boxing says, I was literally cussing out Santiago behind the TV screen because he held like 10 times around. Yes, sir. As for sure. He did hold excessively, but like I said before, you have to deter those guys from holding. You have to punch them for holding. And that's why guys need to learn how to break the clinch. They need to know how to break the clinch. They need to know how to get out of the clinch. Because you have to be prepared for every situation, for every situation in a boxing fight. And all Devin Haney had to do was feint before he come in. Feint Santiago, so Santiago will react and then catch him with the punch. And you don't have, again, keeping your composure, taking your time, in my opinion, is the key here with Devin Haney. It's not like he doesn't have the skills to do what we're talking about. It's just that he, because even I remember Santiago wanted to clinch, and just before the knockdown, he wanted to clinch, and Devin Haney sidestepped him and started landing punches and stuff. I just think that he just lost his composure. He lost, all the maturity that he had before. He was just gung ho trying to go for a KO. He got KO happy, and you never do that shit. Boxing Monster says Peter Pan with the Jalic triangle, the Jalic triangle theories. Who's Peter Pan? Intangible Boxing says Ali Foreman was fixed. Y'all be talking so much shit I can't even. Intangible Boxing says don't use that argument against the triangle theory. What are you guys? I don't even know what you guys are talking about right now. But as I said before, he ain't ready for Lomachenko at this point in time, and I think a lot of people know that now. I was watching various channels. Some people are saying he's overrated. I definitely overrated Devin Haney. And again, my main thing is composure. You got to keep your composure in boxing, and he's young. He's young, so I expect that. He wasn't even listening to his dad. He's young, and he wanted to make an impression, on this big platform. And he just abandoned everything. He just abandoned everything he learned and was doing what he was doing. And it was not impressive to me. It kind of got me a little bit disappointed and sad, because I'm like, you did all this great work. You knocked down the guy. He was listening to your father, and then all of a sudden, for the next 7 rounds, you're just going gung-ho. Now, he did do good boxing on the outside against Santiago. He got to the inside and everything, But what I'm saying is, he did not keep his composure. He kept on throwing him fucking high, right? He reminded me of Deontay Wilder. He reminded me of KSI. Just fucking throwing the right hand. I'm like, don't you realize you need to make an adjustment? That right hand ain't working? Like, God damn it, man. Just right hand happy. When Deontay Wilder was facing Tyson Fury, it really annoyed me, man. It annoyed me. Intangible Boxer says, no, I'm just saying. Intangible Boxer says, I am Peter Pan. What? Intangible Boxer say, nah, I'm just saying Santiago's a decent fighter. I ain't saying he beat anybody great. Yeah, I know I saw him. He got some skill. No doubt about that. He can do a few things. I was watching him. I was even watching his knockouts and everything. He's got some skill, but that dude's supposed to have been, Devin Haney was supposed to dust that dude. We're supposed to dust him, and especially when a fighter, Andrew Ward was talking to Clarissa Shields, right? About how to get the knockout. If a fighter realizes that you're coming at them and you're not doing anything, you're just being very direct about it. Like, I'm going to just dust you, right? You're not using no feints. You ain't using any variation. You're just coming in with the same strategy over and over again. Obviously, they're going to just shell up. And like I always say, if a fighter don't want to get knocked out, they're not going to get knocked out. You got to get them to open up their guard, open up their defense to get them. And the problem is, once Devin knocked the guy down, the guy went ultra defensive. Okay, fine. But here's the problem. The problem, and by the way, the guy had a good 6th round. He did fight back, right? Devin Haney didn't really do much in the 6th round. He did do some things, but he didn't do much. And the guy was actually walking Devin Haney around in the 6th round. But here's the thing. The thing I'm saying is that Devin Haney should have understood that and kept his composure, right? You're still being sharp. You're still being quick. You're still being aggressive, but you're keeping your composure and listen to your father. Don't try and put heat on every single fucking shot that you're going to throw. Okay? Vary the heat so you can vary your timing. So the guy can't get your timing and set your trap and then spring it. And the guy, you could see Santiago's a decent counter puncher, right? He got a pretty sharp counter. So you want to be able to set your defense so that when you come on the inside, you on that inside, whether you're going to go in and out, you have to decide that, you from whatever you've practiced in the gym, you got to go in and out, or you staying on the inside of the pocket, and you're doing your work. And you're giving that guy that work. He shouldn't be able to tie you up. He ain't on your level where he could, he knows how to tie you up and you don't know how to get out of his tying up. But Devin Haney was just so anxious to just want to plow through the guy that he fell for everything. And he stopped. To me, he stopped what he was doing, the good work that he was doing before. And you just can't do that shit with Lomachenko. And like I said before, you've got to pivot. You have to use pivots. You know what I'm saying? You have to use pivots in boxing. Anyways, back to what I was saying. So Abner Mares, like y'all said, Abner Mares, man, Abner Mares had this criticism of KSI versus Logan Paul. I just don't agree with it, because it's boxing still will be boxing. People's dreams will still be their dreams. Some people you still got to have to work hard to get to the pros to get the money. Okay, KSI and Logan Paul, they worked hard to get their money a different way. And then they chose to do a boxing bout. They chose to do boxing and settle the score as boxers, as people in the ring. They had a disagreement and decided to settle the score in the ring. And what this, Floyd Mayweather was saying, put down the gun, take up the gloves, or pick up the mitts, or pick up your fist, or something like that. This kind of sort of popularizes that, and they could actually ride. Floyd could ride off of this. Now we could have celebrity guys, because we're hearing about celebrities wanting to face, KSI, or Logan Paul. And I'm saying this is good. If people are settling scores and getting paid for it, that's better than shooting each other down or people committing crimes and hurting each other. You know what I'm saying? So, this is where boxing can be a blessing. And it's much more positive than anything. And you guys saw the wheelchair boxing by the WBC. So let me just say this. The WBC with the franchise championship, I actually have a respect for it now. Because when I look at it, like I said, Jamal Charlo, he ain't ready for Canelo. He's not ready for Canelo. He's still going to the ring. We could see the fight happen. I'm not going to stop him. But now I personally believe he's not ready for Canelo. And I also believe that Devin Haney is not ready for Lomachenko. He's not ready for Lomachenko. It'd be a good learning experience for him, and it'd be a good learning experience for Charlo. And who knows? Maybe they perform better than I expect. But I just don't think those guys are ready for Canelo. All right, and I don't think that Devin Haney is ready for Gervonta Davis. I don't think he's ready for Lomachenko. Not from the performance I saw tonight. Even though he probably have a better chance against Gervonta Davis, because Gervonta Davis, he blow up in between fights. And it's just terrible. I listened to Andre Rozier calling Gervonta fat boy in his training camp because they were training with Gervonta, and he couldn't even do fucking proper sit-ups and shit. He was out of shape. Boxing Monster says intangible boxing is the Peter Pan of YouTube. What does that mean? Intangible boxing says when Homochenko gets knocked out, y'all going to bow down to me. That ain't happening, Ninja. Not if Devin Haney faces him next. And Luke Campbell also uses proper pivot work, so Devin Haney better make sure he on point with his pivot work. Athleticism is not everything. Santiago dusts Loma in under 3 rounds. Y'all just be talking a whole set of smack. Boxing Monster, Santiago beats Wilder in 6 rounds. I'm telling you, man. No catchphrase. Oh, if Wilder is fighting Santiago at lightweight, sure. He wouldn't even take 6 rounds. He might beat him in the first 30 seconds. There ain't no other way he beating Wilder. Maybe if they both fight at welterweight. Santiago makes Hagler's what? Chin look like Amir Khan's. You like Floyd so much. You even say, like I said before, it could be Andre Berto too. Andre Berto say the same thing. You say, like I said before. You know who else says that? Danny Garcia. Like I said before. It had nothing to do with what he was saying, but like I said before. In the same tone and rhythm that Floyd says it, y'all clowning at me, man. Y'all just on clown shit right now. Santiago KO what you need first round. Yeah, he'd fuck up my ass. Duh. You'd fuck me up bad. I'm no boxer right now. I'm not a boxer. I want to be. I want to be like KSI and Logan Paul. He'd fuck me up unless I have a gun or something. I could shoot his ass. Intangible boxing said Canelo, even with a significant skills over Charlo, he still lose 5 to 6 rounds. You think so? Nah. Nah. Charlo's what is Charlo's best game? What is Charlo's best game? His jab, right? Right? Charlo's best opportunity to win is with his jab. So what happens when Canelo neutralizes that? As he has done every single fucking opponent he has faced. What happens when he neutralizes it? Logan Paul has better stamina than Canelo. Oh man, y'all just be clowning now. Y'all straight up clowning. Logan Paul has a better resume than what you need. You bet that. You better believe that. Tangible Boxing says, I would knock Donnie Nietis and Chocolatito. You would knock Donnie Nietis, what does that mean? Out. Yeah, in a video game. Sure. If y'all playing a video game with Digital Chocolatito and Donnie Nietis, sure, you'll knock them out. Y'all be just talking smack straight through. That's so fucking funny. Yeah. I'm just saying. Canelo loses 4+ rounds in every fight besides Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I would beat Jay Leon Love, no lies. Ooh-wee. Y'all like y'all. I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm just saying this. I appreciate the sport. I appreciate the boxers. You know what I mean? You know, I'm sure some of you guys can beat some pro boxers if you train a little bit. You might be able to beat, like a guy that just debuted at the pro level. Have no amateur experience, just decided, I need a paycheck. I know and stop fighting. Maybe you beat some of those guys. You know what I mean? Intangible Boxing says, I believe you, boxing monster. Intangible Boxing says, Jerome Ennis or Errol Spence, who you got? Woo, that's a good one. With Jerome Ennis, he's still on the rise. So Errol Spence is the one I got. But hey, what's happening with Errol Spence, man? He put out a social media comment saying, effects of he gives up. What the hell is that about? Hold on a second, people. I heard there was some sort of rumor that he had a brain bleed or something. What's going on with Errol Spence? And what's going on with Sergey Kovalev? Is he okay? Like, I want to know, follow up on those two guys. Because boxing is, there's another thing. I hope that they do medicals for KSI and Logan Paul as well. I guess they did. And Logan Paul thought he didn't lose the fight. He thought the knockdown should have been counted. But even if he knocked, it was 2 knockdowns, right? KSI caught him in the back of the ear. And Logan Paul caught KSI with an uppercut. And then he came with a nice little right hook, but in the back of the head. And he held his head and then he hit him while he was down. But it's cool. It's good. If Errol Spence is 100%, I got my hometown homie Spence. But yeah, of course, Jerome Ennis, he's not at that level yet. You know, he's still on his way up. Intangible Boxing says, I honestly think I could beat Chavez Jr. He won't let his hands go enough to get my respect, Dude, I can't beat none of them guys. I ain't even trying. I'm not even trying. You know what I'm trying to do? I'm just trying to get a first professional or amateur bout on the way. You know, I'm 40 something years old. You know, I just want to get a taste of boxing. You know, I did a little sparring, and man, I got popped all kinds of ways, and the guys was just wild. And I'm trying to practice technique, and it's not as easy as you think, people. You know, it was interesting hearing Logan Paul and KSI say, you know, it's very difficult, you know, to box and shit. It really is. It really is. And I got respect for the sport like that. So that's why it's gonna take me a while just before I even try to set in that ring and really do a professional fight. I probably get a first pro fight, whatever. But you have to respect the sport, man, because one day you here, next day you gone if you don't watch yourself. You know, it's very dangerous. And when you have wild ass guys poking you in your eye and all kinds of shit, you got to be careful. There's motherfuckers out here wild. God damn it. They just be throwing punches. Intangible Boxing says, Ennis said Al Heyman freezing him out of from the elites. I mean, how many fights he got though? And who's he facing to build up to that? Is Errol Spence even alive? That's the question, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. Boxing Monster says, I saw Errol at local Papaya's Chicken getting a sandwich. For real? You joking or you serious? How do you look? How do you look? You serious or you joking? They said he had cuts up in his face and stuff like that. Tangible Boxing says Logan Paul has Shannon Briggs in his corner. He had fights like Vladimir Klitschko with no lead hand. No, he couldn't throw the right hand. It was going to get countered to the body. He threw the right hand a couple of times and he got countered by KSI. Left hooks and shit like that. And KSI kept on jabbing him to the stomach all the time. KSI just had that wild ass right hand. Shannon Briggs did a good job with Logan Paul, though. He did a good job with him. His stamina held up. But, you know, the pace of the fight favored KSI, in my opinion. I thought it was a high-paced fight. I thought it favored KSI. You guys tell me when you're doing the stream, KSI makes Deontay Wilder's technique look like Floyd Mayweather. For real, with the right, especially the right hand. He be slapping with that fucking shit. He be windmilling it. I'll be like, what the fuck? KP from KC 5. I like Haney, but he got now. Hold on. What you saying? He got to grow offensively. I want him to fight Lomachenko, and even if he loses, he learns. He'll learn a lot once he make it through the fight. But Lomachenko will tag his ass up, though. If he do that shit that he was doing, he'll get tagged up. If he fight like how he fought Alvarez, he don't get tagged up, man. He got to fight a lot smarter than that. And his footwork will be the key. But he not ready for Lomachenko. Intangible Boxing says Haney keeps his head on the center when he throws. He came straight down the center. That's what I keep on telling you. He came straight down the fucking center. He is using a jab while he's keeping his head along center line, but still, you can't do that shit against Lomachenko. You can't do that shit against Lomachenko. He doesn't feint enough. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. He could have got this guy out of there if he feint twice. All you have to do is double feint and then come in. You see what I'm saying? And like I said before, Jeff Mayweather, Floyd Mayweather style, and you lean back. You're sitting into your stance, and you lean back, and then you come with your spear jab on the inside. Then right hand, left hook. Then right hand, left hook. You could have done right over the top, left, man, he fucked that shit up. And he wasn't listening to his dad. He was just trying to go for the KO. He wasn't listening to his father. His father was giving him good advice. He wasn't listening to his dad. Got all excitable. You got to keep your composure, man. Especially under fire. You got to keep your composure. Too much love for Lomachenko. Lomachenko. Look, man, it's not love, man. It's just that. It's just I'm being realistic. You know, I was the one who was talking about Devin Haney, Javante Davis, Mikey Garcia, and Manny Pacquiao beating Lomachenko. You guys know that. I can't say that right now. Not for Devin Haney. He got the skills and all that, but he don't make the right decisions, man. His decision making is terrible, and he gets too excited. So you imagine Devin Haney dropping Lomachenko. He gonna lose every single round after that. It might have been competitive when he was facing. As soon as he drops him, he gonna lose his shit and he gonna try and crash him. You're not reining it back in. You went for 7 fucking rounds. You've been doing the same shit over and over and throwing the same punches. I mean, your defense was okay and everything, and the guy was on his defense, whatever. But you gotta set a trap. You know, think or do something, a feint or something. You know what I'm saying? Delay a little bit so when the guy close up like a shell, you know, you just pro. I mean, no, man, the way how he did it was just not, you know. Tangible Boxing said, Tangible be talking so much shit right now. Intangible Boxing said, yeah, even if Haney doesn't train for Loma, he gets him out in 5. Intangible Boxing says Mikey Garcia does not beat Lomo. He tries to be slick counterpuncher, which is unnatural. I don't know about that. I think just because Errol Spence outboxed Mikey Garcia, I think a lot of people are thinking that Mikey Garcia is not good. He's good. He's good. He's good. His footwork is very good. The only reason why Mikey Garcia lost to Errol Spence is because he still couldn't get the range he wanted to get. He was doing the right things. He was using the right footwork and everything. But he was just a little bit off in terms of getting his range. For the most part, Errol Spence was keeping Mikey under control. Lomachenko versus Mikey Garcia. I think Mikey knows what to do with Lomachenko. He's an experienced fighter and everything. That's why Lomachenko wanted to face him. Haney beats Kovalev in 10. No catch weight. All right, yeah, lightweight he beats Kovalev. I give you that. He beats Kovalev at not even in 10. At lightweight, sure. At welterweight, sure. At super welterweight, sure. If Mikey got, I with a rehydration clause. If Mikey got to the inside on Spence, would he have made it to 12? No chance. Well, actually, he was doing well on the inside. Spence was still getting the better of the exchanges, but again, Mikey got his defense. So a lot of times, even though Mikey couldn't land his shots, Spence also couldn't land his shots either. Mikey got good defense. That's why Spence couldn't get him out of there. And Mikey does counterpunch very well. That's why Spence couldn't stay on the inside with him against the ropes. Spence would start to tee off on the ropes. And again, just like you said with Devin Haney, Spence don't move his head. And that's only because they're coming off a jab too, right? But, you know, Spence would. So Spence is a lefty. So if this is me, notice the angle I'm at here, right? I'm a double jab coming in, right? So I double jab coming in, right? My head is along center line, but I'm coming into you off an angle. Once I get to you, right, you may have slipped the jab. You may be on this side of me. You may be on this side of me. You guys can't see what I'm saying, but you're on this side of me. I pump the jab twice, right? So you over here. Probably get hit with the first one, and then you dip to your left, or you dip to your right. So what I do now is I just side pivot. You guys can't see what I'm doing. Man, I hate this fucking camera. I can't really show you guys what I really mean. You have to see me from outside, far away. But I side pivot you anyway, and then I can work your body. So that's what Spence do. But sometimes when he's working the body, he actually square up in front of you, and his head's right along center line. So sometimes when he starts to go for the body, all Mikey got to do. So Mikey's orthodox. So Mikey's right here against the ropes, and he's squared up like this. He got to just catch the shot, catch and shoot, catch and shoot. See? So that's what Mikey do. And that's Errol Spence he gets stunned because his head along center line. He just pull back and use his jab and stay on the outside prodding. And if Mikey, another thing Mikey would do is he would slide in, bump him with the shoulder, and push him out. Really good. I like what Mikey did in there. He did some really good things, and that's why Sean Porter, after seeing that, realizing that he could hang with Errol Spence on the inside. That's why Sean Porter did so well against Errol Spence on the inside, because he saw the work that Mikey was doing with his defense, keeping his defense tight on the inside. But Sean was a lot more aggressive, whereas Mikey was more tactical. He was trying to get clean punches all the time. Mikey more like Danny Garcia. He kind of pick his shots. He want to get the clean punch in there. Errol Spence will sometimes dig his shoulder, get lower than him, kind of like Josh Taylor. He would dig the shoulder and get lower, pivot off to the side so he could land his hooks and shit. But Mikey would be blocking it. Mikey had very, very good defense, underrated defense. Errol Spence would get 1 or 2 shots in there. You had boop, boop. He get some shots in there. Boop, boop. He get another set of shots in there. But Mikey, because he keep it tucked, keep it tight, he can still catch the shots on the sides, even though he's a smaller dude. Mikey's good. He's really good. Wilder debilitated Spence when he fought Mikey. Mikey literally came in for a check. He looked terrified. Nah, he wasn't terrified. When they were trying to stop the fight, Mikey was trying to get the get back. He was trying to go for the KO at a certain point. Later on in the fight, he was trying to go for the KO. Peter Pan, you're wrong. It was Spence that was fighting on the back foot. Yes, he was, mostly. And Mikey should have pressed. The problem with it was Mikey. Let me show you something. So this is another reason why Mikey couldn't really do what he wanted to do. Mikey will do this, right? So Mikey's coming at you. He dips low and he stays on one spot. So he'll do this, but he'll stay on one spot. When he should have done this. Above and weaving coming on the inside. So Mikey, he got the 2 guard. He's catching the shots, right? He's catching the shots back here. Right? You guys can't see my footwork. To see I'm leaning back on my back foot, right? And then what he would do is this. When Errol Spence tried to tee up with something, right? He would go like this. But he stayed one spot. Right? He just stayed one spot. So he's getting away from the shot. He's shifting, but he's not going anywhere because he can't move and bob and weave. He could just bob and weave on the spot. So that was the problem with Mikey. So he had to come in with a leaping left hook. So he might bob, weave, leaping left hook, right? Boom. Come with that leaping left hook. Right? But that was the problem with Mikey. Where Sean Porter, on the other hand, all kind of shit. Sean Porter would hit you like this. Or sometimes he would come in like, right? Come in with a leaping left hook. He come in with all kinds of shit. Right? Porter sometimes come in with a leaping left hook. Then an overhand right. Then left, right combinations to the body. Left. You know? Right. I heard somebody say Danny Garcia was the fighter of the decade. I don't know about that shit. I don't know about that shit. Y'all be clowning so much. I am not even sure if y'all serious or if it's some fanboy that said that shit. Man, fanboys are hilarious. So I don't even know what to say about that. Boxing Monster says Mikey beats the ballerina dress off of Lomachenko. I think Mikey beats Lomachenko. They're about the same size and everything. He ain't got to worry about reaching shit. I think he beats Lomachenko. I think he got the footwork to beat him. Comey knocks the bra off of Loma's chest. I don't know about that. He better have good footwork. If he has good footwork, he could beat Lomachenko. He don't have good footwork, you're not going to beat Lomachenko. It all comes down to your feet and what you do. And you got to be smart in there. Parachamp knocks the pumps off of Homichenko. Nah, he don't. He don't knock. But you know what's interesting? Berchelt took care of Jason Sosa so easily, more easy than Lomachenko did. So I thought it was interesting. You know, some of the guys that Lomachenko beat, other guys are beating them much more easily. Peter Pan beats the leggings off of Beyonce Wilder. Y'all are so silly. There's something else I wanted to discuss in boxing, you know, and I forgot what it was. Berchelt improved his head movement. He's like Maidana. Yeah, he's got some nice little boxing skills, but he's still growing. He's not ready for Tevin Farmer. It popped in my head and then it disappeared. It was an important topic, and I said I was going to cover it. He's like Maidana, but skilled. Maidana just windmills. Maidana has some real unorthodox punching. He kind of hammer punches. And he punches hard. Yeah, there's something else I wanted to say, but I can't remember what it was. When I remember it, I'll put it in. Hey, did you debate the dude, by the way? Did you debate the dude in Tangible Boxing? How'd that debate go? Oh, he didn't show up. Who didn't show up? Was it Intangible or was it the guy? Was the guy's name is J-League Boxing? Who didn't show up for the event? Oh, you didn't debate him? Okay. So the guy showed up? Oh, wow. Well, you should debate the dude, man. Debate the dude on it, because I'm interested to hear how that goes. Tanaka versus Davis. Okay. Yeah. That's about it. That's all I wanted to talk about. I thought that KSI versus Logan Paul was a success. We have to see what the subscriptions look like, or the numbers, the viewership numbers for that event. And we got to hope for the best, that people will to tune in more into boxing. You know, Chris Brown was supposed to face Soldier Boy. I don't know what happened with that. You know. Yeah, man. Boxing Monster. Peace out to you as well. Don't forget, people, that you can also not just subscribe to my channel and share my channel and the content on my channel, but you can also donate to my channel via Western Union or MoneyGram. Tangible Boxing says, though that dude will debate, I will debate, literally told me that Chris Arreola is better than Povetkin. What? I think he's a cherry pick for Mr. Me. I'm gonna tell you this. Chris Arreola faced Vladimir Klitschko. Didn't get knocked out. He's a tough motherfucker. Gave Deontay Wilder a tough fight. When it comes to toughness, he's tough. And he likes to fight. He doesn't really box. Povetkin has more boxing skills, in my opinion. Better pedigree. He is smaller, I think, than Chris Arreola. And I don't know. I think that I don't know. That's a great question, actually. Did Did Klitschko knock out Povetkin? That's actually an interesting question. Did Klitschko knock out Povetkin? Anybody know? Povetkin beat Chargaev, Takum, Shaw, and Hook. Yeah, you know who else fought over this weekend? I forgot to mention him. Pulev. Kubrat Pulev. Kubrat Pulev also fought over the weekend. Yeah. Okay, I can fix my screen then. Yep. All right, we're going to have to remove this glass. Yeah, Kubrat Pulev, he also fought over the weekend, so yeah. I didn't tell you all guys the results of that, did I? Vladimir Klitschko stop Ariel. How many times did Ariel face Klitschko? Let me look. Now you guys talking about this. It's kind of a little bit off the topic, but let's chop it up and see. Alexander Povetkin. Anthony Joshua knocked him out, and Vladimir Klitschko gave him a unanimous decision win. Povetkin beat, like you said, Emmanuel Char. He also beat Mike Perez. Let's not forget Mike Perez. He beat Carlos Takum, Manuel Char, Marco Huck, Ruslan Chagaev, who became WBA heavyweight champion. Oh, he was the WBA heavyweight champion. Okay. So he became champion. Was that the regular title or super champion? Did somebody else have the super championship, or he was the WBA champion? And then he faced Klitschko. Okay. So he was actually a world champion. No, man. Povetkin's better than he's better than he's better. He's more accomplished than these are the names that he beat. These are guys that we saw recently in fights, and therefore no names. So he beat Eddie Chambers. He beat Chris Bird. This is Povetkin. Okay. He beat Eddie Chambers. He beat Chris Bird. He beat Ruslan Chagaev, who later became the WBA champion as well, regular. He beat Marco Huck. He beat Hasim Rahman, old Hasim Rahman, but not yes. He beat he lost to Vladimir Klitschko. Then he went on to beat Manuel Char, Carlos Takum, Mike Perez, Mario Swak, Johan Duapas, who Wilder faced, Christian Hammer, who Luis Ortiz faced, David Price. Okay, then he lost to Anthony Joshua. He just recently beat Hughie Fury. He's got some fucking names there. Okay, let's look at Chris, and he's going to be facing Michael Hunter next. So, yeah, he's faced some names, man. Povetkin is legit. Let's see Chris Arreola. But Chris Arreola is known for his toughness, so, you know, he's a tough motherfucker, so. Chris the Nightmare Arreola. Okay, so he just lost to Adam Kawanaki. That's a nice upcoming fighter. He also fought Deontay Wilder. Gave him a good fucking fight. Faced Bermain Stavern twice. He also faced Seth Mitchell, Eric Merlina, Thomas Adamak. He lost to him. Vitaly Klitschko. Vitaly Klitschko caused him to retire. He gave him a tough fight. Chaz Witherspoon, who recently faced Usyk. And one more guy I saw. Jamil McClain, the big tall guy. Yeah, that's about it. I think Povetkin got a better resume. I think Povetkin got better skills. But I don't know. If you were to put Chris Arreola against Povetkin, Arreola versus Povetkin, do you think Povetkin could get Arreola out of there? Or because Arreola don't get knocked out. The only person to knock out Ariola was Stavern. He has to retire on his stool. Against Deontay Wilder, the corner called it, and he retired on his stool. And against Vitaly Klitschko, he retired on his stool. So he not a dude that will stop. It's his corner has to stop the fight. Ariola will just keep coming. The only person to short circuit Ariola and actually knock his ass out was Bermane Stavern. Nobody else has ever knocked out Ariola. And Ariola came in the smallest he ever came in. So I mean, he's tough. He's a tough motherfucker. So if Povetkin, if he continues to go against Povetkin, can Povetkin get him to retire on his stool? If he can't get him to retire on his stool, you know that's going the distance. And Ariola might overwhelm him later on. I might even take him out. And this old ass Povetkin that we have right now, I don't know if he stands a chance against Chris Ariola. I don't know. So that's what I mean. I mean the toughness of Ariola versus the skills of Povetkin and the quality and the experience of Povetkin at the championship level, I think is the question. How is Povetkin versus Ariola a good question? It's a good question. I mean, you think about it. Povetkin has the better resume at heavyweight outside of AJ. I wouldn't be surprised, man. He have a hell of a resume. Ariola's best name is Eric Molina. No, man. Like I said, I just showed you guys his thing. Remember, he fought Bermane Stavern twice. Besides Eric Molina, he lost to Adamak, lost to Vitaly Klitschko. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, his best win is Molina. That's right. Yeah, you're right. Still, he's a tough ass motherfucker though. So that's the thing with Ariola. He'll always carry you through the fire in that respect. Yeah, his best name that he won. But he faced some good guys and he gave them tough fights. Intangible Boxer says, "You absolutely baffle me. Craziest thing you said since Castillo is the greatest lightweight." I never said Castillo is the greatest lightweight of all time. Why do you guys keep on saying that shit? Why? I never said Castillo is the greatest lightweight of all time. I never said that shit. Why do you guys... You trolling me. I never said Castillo is the greatest lightweight of all time. Where do you guys get this stuff from? I said at lightweight, Castillo actually faced better competition than Roberto Duran. And we can argue that he's a better lightweight in his lightweight than Roberto Duran. Just because people say Roberto Duran is the greatest lightweight of all time, I don't believe Roberto Duran is the greatest lightweight of all time. I don't. There's Henry Armstrong. There's many guys who had better lightweight resumes than Roberto Duran. You know, fought better names at lightweight than Roberto Duran. Right? So I never said that he's the greatest lightweight of all time. You know, you got Lou Jenkins, you got the fucking Ghetto Wizard. You know, you got a lot of great Ike Williams. You got a lot of great lightweights out there. Great lightweights. Right? People coronate Roberto Duran as the greatest lightweight of all time. And that's because he moved from lightweight and he did great things. He went up all these weight classes and shit. And they, for some reason, said because he spent a lot of his career at lightweight, that he's the greatest lightweight of all time for that. But I'm talking about level of competition at lightweight. Yeah, he had a lot of defenses, but his competition at lightweight, and by the way, he didn't stay at lightweight all the time. He would move up to super lightweight and have a lot of super lightweight fights, right? And then come back down to lightweight. But the point is, when you look at his competition, a lot of them weren't a danger. They weren't a threat to him. They were more boxers, but they didn't have no punching power. They had no KO. Well, let me say this. They didn't have high KO ratios. When you look at Castillo and the level of competition he faced and the KO ratios they had, they were dangerous guys. Right? Esteban de Jesus, he's the equivalent of Stevie Johnson. Stevie Johnson and Esteban de Jesus, and Stevie Johnson's tighter. He was a better boxer than Esteban de Jesus. Esteban de Jesus he was very muscle bound, which is why he tired out later on in fights. And he had a great left hook, but that's about it. Stevie Johnson was aggressive all 12 rounds. Bring the heat all 12 rounds. I'm just saying. But when it comes to Chris Arreola versus Povetkin, think about it. Povetkin right now is old ass. He's an old ass dude. If Povetkin faces Chris Arreola right now, you saw his last performance against Huey Fury. He was sloppy as fuck. Huey Fury was sloppy as fuck. Chris Arreola's not that sloppy. And his fight with Kawanaki was actually better. Chris Arreola had better defense even when he was facing Kawanaki. So I would like to see him against Povetkin, of course. Love to see that matchup. That's a competitive fight. That's a competitive fight. That's not crazy. Povetkin's old. He's an old ass dude. I never said Castillo's the greatest lightweight of all time. You said he's better than Sweet Pea, Duran, Ortiz. I never said that. You clowning me, man. You playing me right now. Is anybody Castillo face better than Hall of Famer Ken Buchanan? Yes. Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather's better than Ken Buchanan. You forgot Castillo faced Floyd? He also faced Diego Corrales. He also faced Joel Casamayor. Need I say more? He also faced Julio Diaz. Ken Buchanan was a good fighter. And by the way, while Roberto Duran was winning that fight, Ken Buchanan was coming back. Roberto Duran hit him with a low blow. That's how the fight ended. They said it was unintentional. And because Ken Buchanan couldn't continue, that's how Duran won that fight. Just saying. Now, Ken Buchanan was a hell of a fighter. Don't get it twisted. Great Scottish fighter. I think Scottish. You're Scottish, right? But, I mean, are you serious? And Ken Buchanan wasn't no power puncher. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You know, you look at Roberto Duran, the only power puncher he faced was Esteban de Jesus. And guess what Esteban de Jesus did at lightweight? Drop his ass every single fight. He dropped him in the second fight. I think he didn't drop him in the third fight. One of the fights he didn't drop him. But the thing with Esteban de Jesus is that motherfucker tires out because he got big muscle mass. You know who beat Esteban de Jesus? And he didn't have no fucking punching power. And that's just to tell you, just to explain to you that Roberto Duran wasn't all that really at lightweight. You ever heard of Saul Mbe? Saul Mbe, he stopped Esteban de Jesus and knocked him the fuck out. Cold. Esteban de Jesus used to lift weights and sing. He died of HIV, AIDS. You clowning with me, man. You clowning with me, man. Ernesto Marcel was a bad motherfucker, and I didn't think Ernesto Marcel lost that fight. I thought he beat, it was a close fight, so I couldn't really say, but I thought it was a close fight. I didn't know why the referee stopped it. Esteban de Jesus. Castillo faced guys better than Esteban de Jesus. What are you talking about, man? Hiroshi Kabayoshi was too small, man. He was too small. He came up from, I think he came up from super featherweight? Ellie came up from super featherweight or something to face Duran. And that wasn't even at lightweight. I think that was at super featherweight at the time. And he also faced Ernesto Marcel at super featherweight. He didn't face him at lightweight. Hector Thompson. Get the fuck out of here. Hector Thompson was a muscle-bound dude. And he didn't have that great punching power. Hey, excuse me, anybody could still beat? You serious? Are you serious? You're serious, right? He beat Stevie Johnson. He beat Diego Corrales. He beat Joel Casamayor. He beat Julio Diaz. He beat I can't remember the other guys off the top of my head. Are you serious? Castillo faced Casamayor, Corrales, Lascano. Yeah, that was a bad motherfucker too. Julio Diaz. He beat Julio Diaz. He knocked out Julio Diaz. Julio Diaz is a bad motherfucker at lightweight. I can't remember what else. Like I said, Stevie Johnson. You got to talk about Stevie Johnson. Castillo never unified. But guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Who gives a fuck? It's the names that I care about. I don't care about if you unify. Belts don't mean shit if it's not somebody you facing. I mean, Esteban de Jesus was the guy that he unified with. That he faced 2 times before. That was his last fight at lightweight. You're talking about Durant, right? He fought the same guy 3 times. Julio Diaz's only name was Jesus Chavez. And at the time, yeah. After that, he fought a number of other guys, but yep, his only name at the time was Jesus Chavez. You serious? You think I was talking about Jose Luis Castillo as the greatest lightweight of all time? I never said that shit. I said his resume is better than. Oh, look. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up for you. Let me pull it up for you. And Esteban de Jesus' resume. What was his resume? He lost to Saul Ambe, right? He lost to Roberto Duran. Who was the people that he beat? Guts Ichimatsu was a good little fighter. He was a good little fighter, right? That's what Esteban de Jesus won his title off of. He lost to Antonio Cervantes. That was a great fighter. Who else did he face? I mean, that's about it. That is Esteban de Jesus' resume. People like to talk about Ray Lampkin. I don't even talk about Ray Lampkin. You know, I don't even mention him. He couldn't even hit for shit. All right, he was fast, but that's about it. Right, and he honestly, I didn't think he was that great a boxer either. But they talk about Ray Lampkin. Couldn't do shit. So he's not one. So when you look at it, the only people that he beat, the only name that he beat on there is Guts Ichimatsu. That's Esteban de Jesus' entire career. He faced some good guys. He faced Antonio Cervantes. He got beat by him. He faced Roberto Duran. He got beat by him. Right? And then no punching Saul Ambe knocked his fucking ass out. Saul Ambe doesn't knock people out. And he knocked his ass out. Now, Stevie fucking Johnson. Let's look at Stevie Johnson's career. Okay? So that was Roberto Duran's opponent. In fact, we're going to go through Roberto Duran's list right here. I don't have a problem doing that. I don't have a problem at all. Jose Luis Castillo's. I can go through it right now because I know the guys who he faced was legit. Legit motherfuckers. Okay, I'm gonna have to do it like this. I can't believe you guys are not serious about this. I mean, I don't have it off the top of my head because we just kind of talking, so I actually had to pull it up from BoxRec, but I mean, what the fuck am I doing? This phone is so fucking slow. This is a slow ass motherfucking phone. Slow ass phone. I'm pressing on videos. Not trying to get videos, but I'm pressing on it. I'm on images. Oh, you bubbling. Julio Diaz's only name was Jesus Chavez. Yep. But so was fucking Esteban de Jesus, at least the name that he won against. And that's not before he faced Duran. Yeah, that was before. Yeah, that wasn't before he faced Duran. He didn't face no. The first time he beat Duran, he didn't have no names on his resume. Ken Buchanan had names on his resume. Ken Buchanan had names, and even when he beat that dude, what's his name? I forgot what his name is, but even when he beat that dude, this is his lightweight, right? Cool. Even when he beat Ken Buchanan beat this old guy. He was an old dude when he beat him. Cause I gotta say though, Duran was an incredible fighter. He fought till he was fucking 50. It's crazy. It's just insane thinking about that. All right, Ken Buchanan. I think he beat Carlos Ortiz. Is that the name? Carlos Ortiz? I didn't look it up yet, but it just came back to my mind. And he never got the rematch with Duran. I remember Ken Buchanan saying that motherfucker didn't want to give me no rematch. After he hit me in the balls. Oh, shit. All right, so Ken Buchanan won the where is it? All right, he beat the legend Ishmael Laguna, right? And that's how he got the WBA lightweight title. And then the equivalent of the WBC was the NYSAC. This was in 1970. Come on, motherfucker, don't do that to me. And then he defended against Ruben Navarro. So it was Ishmael Laguna. I thought it was Carlos Ortiz. I guess he faced Carlos Ortiz after. Okay, he faced Carlos Ortiz after Duran. Carlos Ortiz was ancient, but he actually beat Ishmael Laguna. Okay, and then he had a rematch with him, and he beat him again. Okay, Ishmael Laguna and Carlos Ortiz used to go to and fro, right, with the titles. And so that's how he became undisputed champion. And then Roberto Duran beat him. But he ain't got no other name before he faced Duran there. Oh, no, he faced Ruben Navarro. And Ruben Navarro, I do believe, was a former world champion as well. The fucking hell. He had nobody else on his list. It was just a lot of guys just fighting in Europe up to that point. Right? Then he faced Duran. Then he faced Carlos Ortiz, who was a former world champion. Let's see, after that, he lost to Gutsi Chimatsu. He tried to get the WBC world title. Gutsi Chimatsu had it. Roberto Duran had the WBA. He was stripped, I think. And Gutsi Chimatsu beat his ass. Yep. That's his whole entire fucking career. He beat Ishmael Laguna. He beat Carlos Ortiz. That's it. Duran beat him. And Gutsi Chimatsu beat him. That's his whole fucking career. You know what I'm saying? But they call him a Hall of Famer. He did beat 2 Hall of Famers, so I guess, but you know, people hype up a lot of fighters, man. And they do. And let me tell you something. The body of work of the fighters, you have to consider everything, right? The guys who weren't the great fighters and all of that. But I'm just saying, he only beat 2 names, right? All right, so let's go to, what was it, Luis Castillo? So Castillo, to become world champion, he beat Stevie Johnson. Then he rematched Stevie Johnson. He actually gave him a rematch, all right? And they fought to a draw. Whereas Duran did not give Buchanan a rematch, right? Fucking ass thing. Sometimes these phones really piss me off. Come on, motherfucker. fucking phone down here. Yeah, he beat Edwin Virat, but we argue Edwin Virat beat him. And then again, Edwin Virat didn't have no heat to really keep him off. He just could box. Virat outboxed him twice. Even bloodied his nose. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just Carlos and Alescanzo. Like I said, Diaz beat Jesus Chavez. Just like how Esteban de Jesus beat Gutsuchimatsu. And that's his entire career. Julio Diaz faced Keith Thurman. He faced a number of people. We're gonna get to it. We're gonna take it one step at a time. We're gonna get to it. But first, let me show you who Jose Luis. So Stevie Johnson was the dude that Jose Luis Castillo beat. All right. I was trying to get inside of fucking Stevie Johnson's thing so you could see what he had done. So Stevie Johnson, before he faced Jose Luis Castillo, all right, he had beaten Julio Alvarez, who would later become a world champion. He beat Angel Manfredi. He beat former world champion Cesar Bazan. Actually, he beat Cesar Bazan to become world champion, if I'm not mistaken. No. Yeah. Beat Cesar Bazan, former world champion. And he beat Jean Baptiste Mendy, who was at the time the WBC world champion. So he fought all those guys, and he beat all those guys. He also beat Olash. He also beat Sean Bay Mitchell when Sean Bay Mitchell was something. And he stepped up to lightweight. All right, so that's Stevie Johnson's resume. Ken Buchanan, yeah, he fought two legends. He beat two legends, you know, who were world champions. But this motherfucker fought a number of former world champions. From Sean Bay Mitchell, who was a super featherweight world champion. And then he became, I think, a super lightweight world champion. And he then beat Jean Baptiste Mendy, who was the WBC world lightweight champion. Right? And then he beat Cesar Bazan, who was a former world champion. All right? And then he beat Angel Manfredi, who was a top contender. Now, Angel Manfredi had lost to Diego Corrales, and he had lost to Floyd Mayweather. And he beat Julio Alvarez, who also became later on a world champion. Then he lost to Jose Luis Castillo by a close fight. Got a rematch with Jose Luis Castillo. Duran never gave Buchanan a rematch. After that low blow, he should have given him a rematch. He never gave him a rematch. I'm just saying. Right? And then you had Jose Luis Castillo facing... So Stevie Johnson was his first win for the WBC World Lightweight Championship. Okay? It was a skillful southpaw, very aggressive. You know, had some slickness, but he was very aggressive. He would remind you of Esteban de Jesus. Stevie Johnson's knockout ratio was what? I don't know. It was 40-something% maybe. Oh, he didn't have he didn't have a high knockout ratio. He was 36.73. So Esteban de Jesus had a hell of a lot more power than him. You know what I mean? Ken Buchanan, at least in terms of knockout ratio, Ken Buchanan probably was better. Nope. His knockout ratio was 39.13, so they were around about the same. One was 36, one was 39, so you know, it is what it is. They wasn't known as knockout artists. It was what it is. All right, so that was that. And then after he rematched Stevie Johnson, he fought former world champion Cesar Bazan. And he knocked his ass out. Cesar Bazan was a tough motherfucker, like Jose Luis Castillo. Okay? And Cesar Bazan, I wouldn't consider him somebody worth talking about, but Cesar Bazan had a 52% knockout ratio. And Bazan had faced, before he faced Jose Luis Castillo, he faced names like, well, he faced Stevie Johnson. Cesar Bazan actually beat Stevie Johnson to win the WBC lightweight title, and Stevie Johnson rematched him and beat him by a split decision. All right, so he had a win over Stevie Johnson. That's about it, really. This is before he faced Jose Luis Castillo. Career-wise, Cesar Bazan also faced Miguel Cotto. Yeah, faced Miguel Cotto and Mike Alvarado. All right, lost to both of them by stoppage. All right, Duran. The next notable fight was Esteban de Jesus. We already went through Esteban de Jesus stuff, right? The next guy was Jimmy Robertson. I didn't make much of it. Jimmy Robertson didn't belong in the ring with Duran. I don't really talk about Jimmy Robertson because he didn't really beat nobody or nothing. You can go ahead and look it up. So we'll ignore that. Hector Thompson. So you were talking about Hector Thompson. The thing about Hector Thompson is, who did he knock out? Who did he beat? He may have had a decent knockout ratio, which was, well, his knockout ratio was 31.33. So he wasn't really a knockout artist, even though he came in as if he had power. And who did he face? Who did he face that was noteworthy of talking about? And after he faced Roberto Duran, he had faced Antonio Cervantes, who he got stopped in that fight. Of course, he faced Duran. That's about it, really. And he wasn't a lightweight. He came down from super lightweight to face Duran. That's another thing people don't know. That's Hector Thompson for you. I mean, I ain't trying to trash Duran. I'm just telling you guys the truth. He had 13 defenses, but one of the good fights he fought was Good Shichimatsu. It was a good fight. You know, Good Shichimatsu was was it Good Shichimatsu? I think it was Good Shichimatsu. Good Shichimatsu was a good fighter. He's a good fighter. I watched him fight. He was a good boxer. Good Japanese boxer. Right? He had a win over Ken Buchanan. He lost to Esteban de Jesus. He faced Roberto Duran. But he was a good boxer. I could tell you that for a fact. He lost to Ishmael Laguna. That's about it, really. Those are the guys he faced. So his big win was really against Ken Buchanan. But he was a good boxer, though. You know? And we're just talking names, right? All right, so Good Shichimatsu was the other guy. And then for, of course, Jose Luis Castillo faced Floyd Mayweather, who's like, you guys know what Floyd is. He's an all-time great and all that shit. So we're going to skip Floyd Mayweather because his resume was ridiculous before he faced Castillo. He had a great super featherweight resume. Then he faced Juan Lascanzo. Juan Lascanzo was a very good fighter. He never won a world championship, but he was a very good fighter. He beat Stevie Johnson. He faced Ricky Hatton, Vivian Harris. All right. He was a good, solid fighter. I think he got knocked out only by one person, which is Jose Luis Castillo. Castillo's the only guy to knock out Juan Lascanzo. And some people argue that Juan Lascanzo won that fight against Vivian Harris, to be honest with you. I saw the fight too. He beat Ben Taki. He lost to Jose Luis Castillo by unanimous decision. Actually, he beat Stevie Johnson. He stopped him. He's the only guy to stop Stevie Johnson. I think he's one of several, actually. Later on, Stevie. I think it was the last fight of Stevie Johnson's career, anyway. He also beat Julio Alvarez. He beat John Molina. He beat Jesse James Leah. Floyd Mayweather actually wanted to face him. He lost to Golden Johnson, who later would become world champion, I do believe, if I'm mistaken. He faced, I think that's about it. So he got some names on his resume. You know, he's got names on his resume. And even though he never became world champion, you know, he always gave the guys good fights. Okay. Let me check this out just to make sure I got the right. Yes, I got the right person. He also faced Wilfredo Vasquez from Puerto Rico and beat him. Wilfredo Vasquez was the featherweight champion. He was the WBO featherweight champion. WBA featherweight champion, sorry. He had faced guys like Nassim Hamed and some others. He was a long reigning super bantamweight and featherweight champion, right? So he beat that dude as well, Wilfredo Vasquez. So you know he got some names on his resume. He really got some serious names on his resume. So when Castillo beat him, it was really a serious name. His knockout ratio, however, was 62.79%. So he was he could stop guys. He was strong, he was big, he could stop guys. You know what I mean? Castillo beat him, right? Good fighter. Gutsu Ichimatsu, in my opinion, was a good fighter. I saw him fight. He was a good fucking fighter, okay? I'm not going to lie about that one. That was a good one for Duran. But then Jose Luis Castillo also faced Joel Casimiro. We don't need to talk about Joel Casimiro, do we? I mean, you know, he was a hell of a fighter, right? He's in the Boxing Hall of Fame in Nevada. And Casimiro faced the last fight of his career was against Timothy Bradley. He faced the who's who: Robert Guerrero, Juan Manuel Marquez, Michael Caceres, Diego Corrales. He faced Jose Luis Castillo. He faced Nate Campbell, Acelino Freitas. You know, this motherfucker faced everybody. Roberto Garcia. You know, he got a resume, right? He beat Roberto Garcia, defending the WBA super featherweight title. Floyd was supposed to face him. He didn't get the chance. Instead, he faced Acelino Freitas. He lost to him. Acelino Freitas becoming the unified WBA WBO champion. He then went on to face Nate Campbell, when Nate Campbell was undefeated and give him his first loss. He was able to beat Diego Corrales the first time, even though it was really because Diego Corrales had a mouth bleed, but he was outpointing him anyway. So the fight was stopped. I think he beat him that way. He lost to Jose Luis Castillo. He beat Diego Corrales the second time. There was a trilogy. He beat him the third time, sorry. He beat Michael Caceres. He was old ass by that time. Lost to Juan Manuel Marquez. Marquez stopped him. He was old at that time. Then Robert Guerrero beat him. He gave Robert Guerrero a good fight, though. And Timothy Bradley stopped his ass. That's his career. Motherfucker got a hell of a career. Right? Right. Duran. After Guts Ichimatsu, rematched Esteban de Jesus. I always ask what Masataka Takayama was doing facing him. He had no place facing Duran. That was a championship fight. I don't know how it happened. Ray Lampkin didn't do shit to deserve that either. He was just, you know, he had I guess it's his record and just getting wins, but he was fighting duds. Edwin fucking Viruet. I can't say enough about Edwin Viruet, but when he faced, it doesn't matter. I'm going to show you his career. So the last fight of Edwin Viruet's career was Edwin Rosario, or close to the end. So he faced Edwin Rosario, who dusted his ass, but he was old by then. He faced Duran twice. And he faced him twice because, you know, he faced the contemporary Villamar Fernandez. He had a win over him. Villamar Fernandez also faced Roberto Duran. I didn't really think much of Villamar Fernandez, to be honest with you. I think he was a southpaw. He had a draw with Saul Mbe. Mbe could box. He was really a super lightweight. So Viruet doing that was good, some good stuff right there. I give him his kudos for Viruet, for Mbe. That's about it. Mbaye, he beat Mbaye. That's about it, really. That's the only guy he beat. He got beaten by Rosario, Duran, twice, Esteban de Jesus as well. Split decision loss, but he could box. He never really got the decisions, to be honest with you. So you kind of have to watch the fights to really make out. Because I think he gave Esteban de Jesus all he could handle as well. You know what I mean? So Edwin Villaret. Leoncio Ortiz was another guy that Duran faced, and by the way, that wasn't a championship fight when he faced Villaret. And also with Esteban de Jesus, it wasn't a championship fight either. Otherwise, he'd have lost he wouldn't have had that long winning streak as a champion at lightweight. But Leoncio Ortiz, this was a southpaw, I do believe. Did I say Villamar Fernandez? No, I think Leoncio Ortiz was a southpaw. But the thing about it was, they don't show that he's a southpaw. But the thing about it was, he wasn't really all that for a fighter. He wasn't tough. He was a boxer. He didn't have no great knockout ratio or nothing. He was just, you know what I mean? It is what it is, though. You know. And Leoncio Ortiz fought nobody. Like nobody. He got a Duran fight. He fought nobody today. He just was fighting guys in Mexico. He had a reputation, but he wasn't all that. He faced Saul Mbaye. Now, Saul Mbaye, that motherfucker, you got to have respect for that motherfucker. You got to put respect on that motherfucker's name. He went down to lightweight. He was a super lightweight. He went down to lightweight to face Saul Mbaye. Got the who's who of boxing. He didn't beat everybody, but he had the who's who of boxing. Okay, so Darrell Coley faced him. Javier Castillejo faced him. Maurice Blocker faced him. I don't know if you guys know who Maurice Blocker is, but he became a world champion at welterweight. This motherfucker also had a long career. James Buddy McGirt faced him. Ronnie Shields faced him. Leroy Haley faced him twice. Esteban de Jesus, he beat Esteban de Jesus. This was probably the greatest win of his career. He won the championship against Sang Young Kim. And he did it in Japan, I do believe. He faced Antonio fucking Cervantes. Faced Roberto Duran. He faced Edwin Villaret. Got a draw with Edwin Villaret. Yeah. His career was insane. It was insane. Now he didn't get a lot of wins, but he faced a lot of guys, and he never got knocked out. He never got stopped. Showed he had good defense. He had good boxing skills. He wasn't the sharpest guy. He wasn't the sharpest tack. He didn't have the greatest speed in the world either. Even though he stopped certain guys when he needed to stop them. But you know, he had his jab was really on point. And just all around basic good boxing skill. You know, good boxing skill. He knew how to use the jab. You know what I mean? His main weapon was his jab. And Duran got a win over him. You know, so I give him kudos for that. And I saw Mbaye got a resume, boy. He got a resume. He didn't beat everybody, but he faced a lot of people, a lot of good names, all the way up to welterweight. And he never got stopped because he had good defense, you know. Very good defense. I really was impressed with him when I saw him fight. He faced Lou Bizarro. We don't want to talk about that. That motherfucker ran around the ring. He literally ran. Villamar Fernandez. Let's look at him. Okay. Villamar Fernandez faced Alexis Arguello. He lost to him. He also faced Howard Davis Jr. He lost to him. He actually has a win over Alexis Arguello. My bad. By majority decision. Where did he face Duran? he face Roberto Duran? Oh, okay. Right. He got knocked out by Roberto Duran. 1977. So he had a win over Alexis Arguello. That's his marquee thing. He beat Alexis Arguello by a majority decision. I never watched the fight, so I can't tell you. And then he got knocked out by Rodolfo Gonzalez. I think Rodolfo Gonzalez actually was a world champion too, I think. Yeah. But then when Alexis Arguello rematched him, Alexis Arguello beat his ass. So his thing was Alexis Arguello, which is a big win for him. That's a big win. This is after he got stopped by Duran. So maybe you could include Villamar Fernandez in there. Even though from what I saw of him, he was nothing special, but I mean, he was a solid fighter, I guess. All right, and then the last fight that Duran had was with Esteban de Jesus. So those are the guys on his list. It's basically de Jesus. I'm gonna put in Fernandez, Mbaye definitely, Virich for sure, Ichimatsu most definitely, and then Buchanan. Those are the names. Those are the real names, in my opinion. But when you look at Castillo, we're looking at, I mean, these are some wicked ass fucking names. You got Stevie Johnson, you got Cesar Bazan, you got fucking Floyd Mayweather, you got Juan Lascanzo, you got Casamayor, then Julio Diaz. Let's have a look at Julio Diaz. And I haven't mentioned the other monster in the room. Julio Diaz, 56.66%. Diaz faced Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, Amir Khan. He had a draw with Sean Porter. Faced Kendall Holt, who knocked his ass out. He faced also Juan Diaz, who knocked his ass out. He faced Jesus Chavez. He beat him. Jose Luis Castillo knocked his ass out. He faced Javier Haragui. That's how he won his championship against Javier Haragui, and he got the decision over him. So he beat Javier Haragui. He also beat Ernesto Zepeda, who's a good fighter. Okay. That's about it, really. Keith Thurman ended his career, though. And he fought all the way up to welterweight. Then motherfucking Diego Corrales. He fought Diego Corrales. Do we need to talk about Diego Corrales? We don't need to talk about Diego Corrales. We were talking about him. So Diego Corrales, he faced Joshua Clottey, who later became a world champion, IBF world champion, I do believe, beating Zab Judah. For the unanimous decision, loss. I think Clottey dropped him twice. Faced Joel Casamiro, has a win over Joel Casamiro. Faced Jose Luis Castillo, he has a win over Castillo by knockout. Faced Acelino Freitas, knocked his ass out. Joel Casamiro, he has a win over Joel Casamiro. Faced Floyd Mayweather Jr. Faced Angel Manfredi, knocked his ass out. Faced Derek Gainer, I think he was the IBA super featherweight champion, and he beat his ass. Of course, he was also featherweight champion. I can't remember if he was undisputed or unified or something like that. Right? He also faced Roberto Garcia, who was the IBF world super featherweight champion. All right? This motherfucker, you can see he just, and he was stopping everybody. Okay? Diego Corrales, at the end of his fucking career, which was abruptly stopped, had a knockout ratio of 73.33%. He was a very dangerous fighter. Break you down on the inside and stop your ass. All right? That was Corrales. Castillo faced him. By the way, Castillo was a huge lightweight. Okay? Much bigger than Duran. At lightweight, that is. And them boys rumbled, they rumbled. Okay? So when you look at, you just look at these guys' resume, their names. All right. And that's what Castillo did at lightweight. This is what he did at lightweight. These were the guys he faced at lightweight. Less names, but bad motherfuckers. Okay, bad motherfuckers. And that's the point I'm making. You know, they may not be in the Boxing Hall of Fame right now, you know, but they fought some names. When you talk about names that these guys fought, they fought more names than Duran's all of Duran's opponents put together fought less name opponents than all the opponents of Castillo put together. Because once you put Floyd Mayweather inside of there, you know, he fought a lot of people at super featherweight, including Diego Corrales. So, I mean, Genaro Hernandez, you know, Jesus Chavez and all those guys, right? So when you look at it, this is what I'm trying to say. You know, you just can't. I mean, at lightweight, Castillo had a tougher time at lightweight than Duran did. Duran only had one particular tough opponent to deal with, which was Esteban de Jesus, who could actually do something to him that could really hurt him. Everybody else couldn't hurt him. So he was walking through everybody else and knocking them out and stuff. There was one guy who he could box really well, which was Virat. And so he was able to, you know, tag up Duran. And I thought he beat Duran in both fights, but because, you know, people didn't think of him as doing much to Duran, you know, and hurting Duran, they gave the fight to Duran. But he was tagging up Duran all the time and just spinning him, turning him, spinning him, turning him, clinching him up, you know. I thought Edwin Virat beat him both times, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that Castillo is the greatest lightweight of all time. Fuck no. He's probably in the top 25, but he ain't the greatest lightweight of all time. But in terms of names, real names to talk about, I know he faced Bizarro. I know he faced Lampkins. I know he faced Thompson and those guys. I know he faced those guys, but I never talk about those guys because those guys didn't fight nobody. They didn't fight nobody. Almost throughout their entire career, they faced nobody. And so I don't really talk about them. And then they didn't really bring nothing to the table. They didn't have nothing that Duran had to respect, so he could just walk through them. If you ain't got some kind of pop for this dude to respect, and then you panicking, you're not keeping your composure, you're not boxing properly, you trying to skip all around the ring and outrun like Lou Bizarro, man. He was literally running around the ring and clinching like a motherfucker. He wasn't starting to box. He wasn't there to survive. You know, you should go and watch the fight. It's hilarious as fuck. It's really funny. Duran was just trying to catch him, literally trying to catch him in the ring. You know, I don't talk about Bizarro. I don't talk about that. I've seen those fights, and I like, nah, this guy. You go watch it. You would laugh. You have a good laugh. Intangible Boxing says, back then you had to fight Hall of Famers to become undisputed. Today you got fighters like Leo Santa Cruz who can cherry pick their way to 3 weight championships. Yeah, that's why I said belts don't mean shit. It's who you face. Intangible Boxing says, so you so tied up into punching power. No, but what I'm saying is, okay. What I'm saying is, so you understand, when you go and watch the fights, you'll see what I'm talking about. Duran did not respect the power of these guys. That's why he was taking punches and he was just walking their ass down. He was just walking through them. You know what I'm saying? The guys didn't have nothing to really give him for Duran to respect. Just go watch the fights. You'll see what I'm talking about. Right? But whereas, that's why I said, when I look at their KO percentage, that's why I was looking at KO percentage, really, honestly. You know, Castillo couldn't do that shit against Diego Corrales. He couldn't do that shit. He can just walk through Julio Diaz. He can just walk through Joel Casamayor. You know what I'm saying? And Casamayor was a dirty fighter. You know, he would use his head and butcher your ass and all kinds of shit. You know, you know, all these factors you got to put into play. You know, Duran beat Jesus, Virat, undefeated Bizarro, Lampkin, Takayama. Oh my God, you used Takayama. Man, come on, man. Takayama shouldn't have been in that ring with him. I don't even know how they figured out a way to put Takayama in there. He didn't belong at all. Thompson, what could Thompson do? Buchanan belonged, man. He never gave Buchanan a rematch. Kobayashi. Now, Kobayashi was a super featherweight, though. Ernesto Mastel, he's a super featherweight. Good fucking fighters. I'm not going to lie. Kobayashi was too small. All right, Duran was just too big. And Marcel beat Duran, I thought. But they was not going to let it go to the decision. Did it for you. And do you think Sam Lanford is in contention for the best ever? What the fuck? Well, how does this discussion get to Sam Langford? Tangible boxing. Jesus Chavez was kind of over the hill when Diaz faced him. True. He had a dislocated shoulder or some shit like that. That's why the fight was actually stopped. This is true. So you could take out Julio Diaz, but to me, Julio Diaz went all up to welterweight, and it was a very tough competition for everybody. He actually drew with Sean Porter at welterweight. You know, Julio Diaz was a bad boy. He was a bad boy. You know, but yeah, okay, fair enough. Let's scratch off Julio Diaz. No Julio Diaz in the resume. You still got fucking Joel Casamayor. You got Diego fucking Corrales. You got Floyd Mayweather. You got Stevie Johnson. You got Cesar Bazan. Okay, and you got what's his name? Shit, it's skipping my mind. All right, there's 5 guys or 6 guys. Even if you want to leave out Julio Diaz, I mean, let me see. Let me get to it. What is this? Yeah, this is the guy. Yeah, that's about it. That's it. Sorry, my bad. That's it. That's it. So those are the guys. And I just think they are much more, they have better resumes, and they also, to me, had better wins against opponents. Okay. He also faced Jorge Paez. Jorge Paez was what was he, a featherweight, super featherweight, and featherweight world champion, something like that. Long reigning IBF super featherweight champion. So there was Jorge Paez as well. That was when he's on the up and coming. But my point anyway is this: that when you look at what Jose Luis Castillo had to face, I thought it was tougher competition than and I say tougher competition in that he couldn't just walk through those guys. So he couldn't just take their punches and go in and be a tough guy. You know, he had to be able to box to deal with those guys. That's why he gave Floyd Mayweather, you know, the first fight, he came on strong, and he always does. Castillo always come on strong late. Even though I got to admit, Diego Corrales he was beating Diego Corrales' ass when he got knocked out. But I'm just saying. I just don't think that Duran has a good enough resume. And do you think Sam Lanford is in contention for the best ever? That motherfucker started off at lightweight and went all the way up to heavyweight. Shit. Of course. That motherfucker fought Joe Gans and went all the way up to face heavyweight guys like Sam McVeigh and company. Of course. He's in contention for the best ever. You got to put him in there. It's crazy. It's just crazy thinking about what Sam Langford did. He didn't win no world titles, but he beat some names. He beat names, didn't he? Okay, then. I just say, you know, people say he got a win over Harry Wills. He got 2 wins or some shit like that over Harry Wills. Harry Wills beat him 14 times or some shit like that. Remember, these guys had to face each other over and over and over again. Of course, you're gonna get a win at least once or twice against another guy who be beating your ass repeatedly. That's like Harry Kreb and what's his name? The guy who became heavyweight champion of the world. You know, of course you're gonna get some wins in. And Harry Wills was a hell of a fighter. Very few people beat Harry Wills. He was a hell of a fighter. So, I'm not a hater or anything of these guys. That's what people don't understand. Past great. I just look at things and I say, but look, man, this dude faced better, tougher competition than this other guy. It was an observation on my part. Because people talk about Roberto Duran was the greatest lightweight of all time. When you look at his entire career and put it into consideration, you could put him in there. But I always say Henry Armstrong did some shit, man. He did some shit. Of course, he's really the greatest welterweight of all time, in my opinion. Henry Armstrong. I think Henry Armstrong's the greatest welterweight of all time. He defended his welterweight title, 18, 19 times? I know that the welterweights that he faced were small guys, but I'm just saying. That motherfucker was 135, something like that, coming into fights. The other guys were like 142, 147. You know what I'm saying? I think Henry Armstrong was the greatest welterweight of all time. When you look at the welterweight careers, his career, and then he fought some names up in there, I think he's the greatest welterweight of all time. That's just my opinion. People say with Sugar Ray Robinson, I'm like, but he only had like five welterweight championship fights. Most of his fights were at middleweight. I can't give him the greatest welterweight of all time, and he ain't spent most of his time at welterweight. And he fought names. He fought some guys. He fought some real dudes. You know what I'm saying? Now, those dudes actually came up from the same division like him. He came up from lightweight, but the point is, he still fought dudes. Hall of Famers and stuff. That's the other thing people don't realize. Henry Armstrong was fighting guys that he had already faced before at lower weight classes. So even Seferino Garcia, he had faced him at welterweight before. Then he came back and faced him again at middleweight. So there's a lot of facing the same guys again that happened in the past. But you still got to get in their props. Even though you say, you put a little asterisk on it and you say, but he faced the same guys over and over though. But the thing about it is he was stopping them guys too. He was stopping them. He was smaller than them and he was stopping them. He worked that body like a motherfucker, man. He was a strong motherfucker. I give him that. Be pushing back the bigger guys. So, in boxing, you got to take everything with a pinch of salt. Just think about what look into the story, watch the fights. If you can see the fights, you watch the fights. Because watching the fights is everything. It tell you more than what anybody could ever tell you, by book or something. Seeing the fights to me is the way to really evaluate the situation. Because boxing is a doing sport. Anyway, it was nice talking to you guys about boxing, man. You guys made me chop up for the last 2 hours and 27 minutes and 47 seconds. It's now 5:20 where I am at. You know what I mean? One other thing I would say about boxers. Like I was trying to say that again. I think that think about what I'm saying now. What's his name? We were talking about current boxers, and you were saying it sounded crazy, but like I said before, Povetkin versus what's his name? What's the guy's name? Chris Arreola. Povetkin versus Chris Arreola would be an interesting fight. I can't even tell you who would win. Because Povetkin's over the hill. He's definitely over the hill. And Chris Arreola, I think Povetkin's like 40 years old. He's bordering on 40. He did look really great. He looked out of shape and everything against Huey Fury, And Chris Arreola looked like he got better defense. And Chris Arreola gonna throw them punches. He gonna be punching like a motherfucker. So, it would be interesting if Povetkin could catch him with a left hook and probably put him down or something. If he can't do that, Chris Arreola probably would, keep on pressing him. And I don't know what would happen. Honestly, I don't know what would happen. Just thinking about Arreola's style. I'm not talking about his career. I'm not talking about his losses. Nothing. Just looking at his style. That's why I always say it's always good to watch the fights. Actually watch the boxing fights, because that really tells the true story. If you look and you see this guy suffered a loss to this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy, but you're not really realizing all of those fights were tough. You look at Sean Porter. He lost to Keith Thurman. He lost to Errol Spence. He lost to Kell Brook. But that's on paper. But when you actually look at the fights, you're like, man, you could argue that he won both fights because they were so close. He give you a tough fight. So
You can't really look at what's written in history or on paper. You have to see the fights. Boxing's a seeing sport. That's why I clowned boxing librarian when he said his favorite fighter was Harry Crabb. I'm like, but you never seen him fight. How can you say this is your favorite boxer? You never seen him fight. Like, don't you want to see what his style look like? Don't you want to see if he looks sweet, if he look good? You really taking people word of mouth? That's like me reading in a book, about skydiving. That's not skydiving. Until I experience skydiving, I don't really know skydiving. You know what I mean? And it's like, you don't go and read in a book about football. You go and watch football. You watch sports, right? It's good to read in a book about Usain Bolt and how fast he ran, but it's another thing to watch him actually run. It's different. And so it's the same thing with the sport of boxing. You want to watch the boxing. You want to see what really happens. And there's a lot of controversial fights that all of these past greats had, and history destroys that. It devours that up, and people remember all the flowery things because their career is over. But when their career was going on, lots of controversy, and a lot of people, you know how people are. People praising Roy Jones Jr. now because his career is over, but they was trashing him in the peak of his career. Oh, he ain't facing the great fighters. He's ducking this guy. All kinds of shit was happening with Roy Jones Jr. But as soon as his career is over, and he steps away from the sport for a while, now everybody praising Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather is the greatest thing since he's not Floyd Mayweather. Blah, blah, blah. But while his career was going on, motherfuckers was trashing his ass. All right? So I'm just saying, that's the same thing happens. And there's a lot of controversy. People say that Floyd lost to Jose Luis Castillo. They say that he lost to Marcos Maidana. You know what I mean? And the same thing happened with the past greats. It's boxing. The one thing about it, people have been reacting to boxing throughout history, more or less the same. The problem with it is that we have social media now, so it's more obvious. And then with the information age we are in, and a lot of information available to us, we're able to scrutinize things a little bit more closely, right? Back in the day, people were more, well, no, not really. People were more positive-minded, you know what I mean? And people knew boxing more. When Sugar Ray Leonard went up against Donnie Lalonde, nobody was thinking that the catch weight wouldn't favor Donnie Lalonde. They were thinking, man, Sugar Ray Leonard's so small, he can hardly make the weight. Man, we think Donnie Lalonde gonna kill Sugar Ray Leonard. That's how people was thinking. They wasn't thinking about Donnie Lalonde. So when Donnie Lalonde got knocked out by Sugar Ray Leonard, everybody was like, whoa, wow, greatest thing in the world. They never thought that, first of all, they never even thought that Donnie Lalonde wasn't the best light heavyweight out there even. They weren't thinking none of that shit. Right? I'm just saying. When Michael Spinks faced Larry Holmes, he jumped up 2 weight classes. He faced the best heavyweight in the world. No catch weight. No rehydration clause. And beat him. When Leon Spinks, who had 8 fucking pro fights, faced Muhammad Ali and beat him. Yeah, he had a great amateur career. I know. Gold medals, all that shit. But he beat Muhammad Ali. That was a hell of a thing. Never mind Muhammad Ali was old, but the point is, it was a hell of a thing. So, there was no asterisk on that shit. It was just unbelievable. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, now I understand that when you're coming up from a low weight, sometimes you want to kind of equal the playing field, but that's why we have catch weights and sometimes we have rehydration clauses. I'm not saying no, but I'm just saying it kind of puts a little asterisk on the thing. When you actually jump all the way up to a guy's weight class, where he's comfortable. The guy's comfortable. He's at his maximum that he could possibly be. Anything else that happens because of injuries or whatever, that's on him. When you can do that, that's incredible, right? You still get credit for beating a guy that's bigger than you at a weight class he's comfortable with, but you're always going to have this little asterisk on it. It's just what it is. Now, for the casual fans, they're going to say, oh, we're going to give you all the praise. But for a boxing fan to kind of understand a little bit more, they're going to be like, I give you your props, but it got a little asterisk on it. That's all. Anywho, this went from discussion of Abner Mars criticizing KSI versus Logan Paul in DAZN to something else.
So I'm kind of interested in talking in these discussions with you guys. I would like to have more back and forth with you guys, where actually I can actually talk with you guys. You guys can call in and stuff like that. We're gonna make it happen. Don't worry, we're gonna make it happen. But everything in the time, and we got to take it one step at a time. You gotta keep your composure. You gotta take your time and do things. I think a lot of people don't do that. Peace to you guys. I'm gonna catch you guys later. I'm out. Peace.